packed inside Fenway Park. You see the banners depicting the pennants, and of course, you know, it's been 85 years since the Red Sox won a World Series, and the monster seats above the great monster in left field, and those seats may cost a little more for the fans. I know I had a chance to sit in that first row, and they are terrific. And this crowd all primed, Tim, for this second game of the battle between the Yankees and Red Sox. One note about the Red Sox: Manny Ramirez did not play last night with a throat infection. They don't know if it's the same as what ailed Pedro Martinez. He's supposed to come to the park to see the doctors, possibly in a pinch hitting role, but not likely.
That throat infection costing Pedro Martinez a start about 10 days ago.
And the Red Sox take the field. Let's bring you the Yankees starting lineup. And they've shaken it up against Pedro today. Derek Jeter leading off at shortstop. Nick Johnson will be batting second at first base. Jason Giambi, the DH, hitting third. Bernie Williams in center field batting cleanup. Hideki Matsui, who 92 RBIs, the last Yankee rookie back in 1962 was Tom Tresh. Jorge Posada behind the plate, and it'll be Aaron Boone at third base batting seventh. Kareem Garcia, the right fielder, hitting eighth. And batting ninth at second base, Enrique Wilson getting a start. So Rafael Soriano not in the lineup and going against Pedro Martinez.
The numbers, Pedro 7-7 in his career against the Yankees. And this very, very important. That is the most. It was important before I just covered it up. But it's the most versus any team. Most losses versus any team in the major leagues. But Pedro's ERA is terrific. And this from Joe Torre before the game. I think we all talk about, and the hitters in the major leagues talk about how can they hit Pedro and what is it about him that makes him so effective. Torre espoused this view. He said his fingers are so long that he's able to hold on to the ball just a nanosecond longer. Pedro, like Sandy Koufax, a pretty good pitcher in his own right, with very long fingers and holding on to the ball just a little longer. You know, you got to try to figure this guy out because major league hitters haven't.
And it's got to be so effective when he throws that changeup, which is really a killer against opposing batters. Let's take a look at the Red Sox defensively. Kevin Millar will be at first base. Lou Merloni just joining the ball club in a deal with San Diego, will be at second, making a second stint with the Red Sox. Nomar Garciaparra at short. Bill Miller is at third. The outfield, Gabe Kapler in left. Johnny Damon in center and Trot Nixon in right. Jason Varitek behind the plate. And we're set to go with Pedro Martinez on the mound. The Red Sox, as Tim mentioned, have made up 4 games in 10 days and trailed by 3.5. So they continue to hang around town, and the first pitch, Jeter lines it to right field. Coming on in is Nixon, and Nixon makes the catch. Diving catch by Nixon. A sparkling defensive play to start the game.
In last night's game, to start the Yankee offense, Jeter doubled the right field. Nixon shading him about 3 steps toward the right field line for that reason, and he's able to come up with a fine, fine play.
And there it is again. If there's anything to get this crowd going other than a Pedro strikeout, would be a sterling defensive play, as we saw from Trot Nixon in right field. So here is Nick Johnson, and he takes a call strike, hitting second. Johnson batting .293, 11 homers and 36 runs batted in. And he grounds it up the middle for a base hit. So Nick Johnson, who has been hitting well, coming back after missing 61 games with a broken bone in his right hand. And he's on at first with the first base hit of the game.
Hitter, number 5, Jason Giambi.
Here's Jason Giambi, the Red Sox designated hitter, batting third. And the boos for Giambi, whose brother underwent shoulder surgery recently. Third in the American League with 35 homers and his 94 runs driven in, 6th best in the league. Runner at first with 1 out, and the pitch inside, ball 1, snap throw to first. And back is Johnson. This broadcast, by the way, also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your TV. Outfield playing straight away against Giambi, but the third baseman Miller playing practically where the shortstop normally plays. And the pitch is down low, 2-0.
Yeah, with nobody on base, there's a dramatic shift with Garciaparra playing there and Miller playing where Garciaparra normally plays. But with a runner on at first base, they want to keep Garciaparra, the strongest throwing arm, in a position to make the double play.
Nick Johnson, not an especially fast runner by any stretch, has a short lead. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and a breaking ball is in there for a strike. 2-1. Those are Giambi's numbers, leading the American League in walks and second in on-base percentage. 2 balls and a strike, and a fastball grounded foul, and it's 2-1.
Dick, you saw Derek Jeter swinging at the first pitch. You're usually better off swinging at the first pitch against Martinez. He's unlike most pitchers. With most pitchers, the most pitches you see, the better off you are. With Martinez, the more pitches you see, the worse you are. Guys who swing at the first pitch are batting .360 against Pedro. All other counts below 200.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, but first to throw to first. And getting back is Nick Johnson. Bernie Williams on deck for the Yankees. Yankees with virtually all left-handed or switch hitters in the lineup who will bat from the left side against Martinez. Jeter and Aaron Boone, the only right-handers, hitting against him. And the pitch popped up behind the plate, and a play for Pettitte. He makes the catch for out number 2.
Again, that's a 5-pitch at bat, and you could see Giambi at more of a disadvantage the deeper in the count he got as Pedro Martinez jams Giambi. That's a pitch he didn't see in that sequence. He finally sees the tight fastball on the 5th pitch. This guy is so unpredictable as a pitcher, the most unpredictable pitcher I think I have seen, with the exception perhaps of Louis Tiant that we ran into in the Boston dugout and clubhouse before the game.
And high praise for Martinez, whose record is 10-3 coming into this game, and will surpass Roger Clemens in the strikeout department if he gets 4 in this game. First pitch is a call strike to Bernie Williams, the switch hitter. And those are Bernie Williams' numbers. But Williams, because he had been in a batting slump, was moved up to second in the order earlier this week against the Chicago White Sox. And he has been perceptibly slowed since that knee surgery.
He has.
Here's the 0-1 pitch on the outside corner. And 0-2 the count to Bernie Williams.
Pedro Martinez with 10 no decisions this year. A lifetime record of 162 and 66. He's almost 100 games over 500. Martinez
ahead of Williams, 2 strikes, and very close, but a bit high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Martinez last pitched Monday when he beat the Seattle Mariners, his patsy. He's now 12-0 against the Mariners, and he missed his previous start due to a throat infection. And there was some stories and talk around Boston that maybe it wasn't that bad, and now you see Manny Ramirez out with a similar deal. Check swing, and holding up was Williams, and the count is even 2-2. Checking with the third base umpire, Ed Rapuano.
After the fastball inside missed, Red Sox fan, of course, wanted this as a swing, but Bernie held up.
Nick Johnson with the lead at first base. 2 down. Matsui would be next. And swing and a miss on the pitch away. So Martinez, going away from Bernie Williams, picks up his first strikeout of the game. The Yankees get a hit and lead 1. Yankees nothing. Red Sox coming to bat. Lights are on here at Fenway Park with the overcast skies as we bring you the Red Sox batting order. Johnny Damon in center field leading off. Bill Miller will be at third base, moving up to the second slot. Nomar Garciaparra at third, hitting third. And David Ortiz, the designated hitter, and he has been sizzling, batting cleanup. Kevin Millar hitting fifth. Jason Varitek in the sixth slot. Gabe Kapler will be batting in the 7th position. Trot Nixon hits 8th, and Lou Merloni, reacquired by the Red Sox, batting 9th. And Bill Miller now leading the American League in hitting, vaulting ahead of Ichiro. in the last week. And Andy Pettitte's first pitch is a fastball inside to Johnny Damon. So Pettitte going for his 17th win.
And he's won 11 of his last 12, as we said on the opening. Very successful against the Red Sox. 12-4 lifetime. And there aren't too many left-handers that you can mention who are successful at Fenway Park because of the monster. But Andy Pettitte pitches very well in this ballpark.
4-2 record, 2.86 in Fenway. Loves this park. Real historical ballpark, an old park, and I think he has a feel for baseball in the places he pitches in as he gets this strike over. 2 balls and 1 strike. In 8 starts, he has been impressive, and that pitch is down low and falling behind the leadoff hitter Johnny Damon. 3-1.
3 left-handed batters in the Boston lineup. Andy Pettitte is actually not as effective against left-handed hitters as he is against right-handers. That is very unusual.
Gets the fastball over on the inside corner, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Not only has Pettitte gone 11-1 in his last 14 starts, but he has allowed 3 runs or fewer in 10 of those 14 starts. And the pitch grounded foul and fielded by Dallas Williams. Very nearly fielded by Williams, first base coach. And very effective, as you can see, the balance, an imbalance, you might say, against Pettitte.
Yeah, that is rare, and one of the reasons for that is Andy doesn't have that tailing fastball that he could throw in on the hands of left-handed batters. His best pitch away to left-handers.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, and bounced up the middle for a base hit. Johnny Damon, who has also been better against left-handed pitchers than against right-handed pitchers, and is on with the first Red Sox hit to start the first.
Now see, the one thing a left-handed batter has to have, he's got to have a fear of that ball tailing in on him. Most left-handers have that, but not Andy Pettitte. That ball tailing on the outside part of the plate, and Damon pops one through the middle.
Red Sox with a leadoff man on, and here is a switch hitting Bill Miller, the third baseman. Not only leading the American League in hitting, but having a career season. Bennett with a great move to first, and you won't see pretty large leads over there.
67 pickoffs since he came into the major leagues. Nobody's even close to that. It's actually a balk move where that right foot comes behind the left leg of Andy Pettitte. When that happens, you're supposed to go home. But when Andy does it, he's got it perfected to where it's very difficult to tell.
There's a breaking pitch in for the strike. He has that cutter, which is very effective. And there you see the pickoff story. 12 more. Then the next pitcher, Brian Anderson of the Kansas City Royals. Lead at first by Johnny Damon. Bill Miller, by the way, hitting .429 career-wise in 7 at-bats, and takes inside again. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Normally a guy like Damon can get down and pressure a shortstop or a second baseman on a double play ball, but Pettitte keeps you so close to first base that you can't get a big lead. So guys who normally could get down on a middle infielder can't do it.
So not only preventing steals, but
Right.
also preventing taking the shortstop out. Again, Pettitte low and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Miller again with a long look at third base coach Mike Cubbage.
Yeah, it's a good time to hit and run. I mean, this is a wide open, very aggressive offense. So what you can't do in the running game, you do combining it with the hitting game. And a hit and run with a count 2-1 in order here.
Johnny Damon with good speed, and again going over there as Pettitte has 24 stolen bases in 29 attempts. Held on by Nick Johnson, but not getting more than a few steps off the bag against Pettitte. Two balls and a strike, and right back to the mound, and the throw, and it's going to be offline, and Andy Pettitte should be charged with a throwing error as his throw to Enrique Wilson was off his glove, and they had a chance to get the double play with that hard hit ball, and instead everybody is safe.
I'm a little surprised Derek Jeter wasn't covering on this play because Miller hits a lot of balls the other way on the ground. Watch how Wilson is going to his right, and the throw is back to his left, off the webbing of the glove. If Jeter is covering on that play, Jeter's going right into the ball.
And here is Pettitte's reaction, and of course, even if he makes the play clearly, he now has to go the other way.
Right,
on the relay to first.
That's right.
Johnny Damon lending a helping hand, and why not? If you got 2 on and nobody out, Tim.
Sure.
So Nomar Garciaparra, who has 5 runs batted in his career, and swinging and fouling off the first pitch for strike 1. 2 on, nobody out for the Red Sox, bottom of the first.
Dick, I was talking about that very thing. Pitchers throws to bases with Joe Torre over the last couple of days. And when you think about it, there are a lot of pitchers who don't throw to bases properly because everything a pitcher has to throw has movement on it. They're used to throwing pitches that move, and that ball, sure enough, moved away from Enrique Wilson.
Here's the 0-1, and a strike. Good cutter on the inside corner by Pettitte. And he is ahead of Garciaparra. No balls and 2 strikes. Nomar with a big game last night, and he missed it. He missed hitting for the cycle by not getting the triple, hitting his 23rd home run of the year. 4th in the league in batting at .323. No balls and 2 strikes. And the throw to second base and getting behind him was Wilson to keep Johnny Damon close. Red Sox threatening, bottom of the first inning. Last night the Yankees scored 2 in the first, and the Red Sox answered with 3. Another comeback win for Boston. And a drive hit to center field. Bernie Williams going back, and it's over his head. And the 2 Red Sox runners practically on top of each other now as they both will score. Nomar Garciaparra will go in sliding at third with a triple. Johnny Damon had to hold up a bit, and Bill Miller was right on his tail, and so Garciaparra gets the triple. That's all he needed last night to hit for the cycle, but the Red Sox have taken a 2-0 lead.
So a cycle kind of over the last 24 hours. Damon went back to second base to tag up, and Bill Miller running up his back. Not as fast as Damon, and a good thing for the Red Sox. A mistake by Andy Pettitte. Too much of the plate on the 0-2 count. It rattles around, and Nomar Garciaparra with his 13th triple of the year. Here's Miller. You can see Damon close to second base thinking about tagging, and Bill Miller almost running up his back as the Red Sox take the lead.
And runner at third, still nobody out. Here in the first inning, David Ortiz, the batter. There's Nomar with the lead at third base, leading the American League now with 13 triples. Ortiz, by the way, hit his 6th homer in 7 games last night. He has been on a tear, and he hits a shot to left field, but it's curling foul and goes out of play. Ortiz, I think, for a left-handed hitter, a perfect power hitter in this ballpark, the way he could go to all fields.
Not only 22 home runs, but power the other way. Now that's a breaking ball. Hit it off Jeff Weaver last night. It was well out of here, but the fastball away. He will go the other way, and also he knows the handshakes of this ball club.
Right, and the hugs. A lot of hugs lately. The 0-2 pitch grounded to third base. Garcia has to hold there, and Aaron Boone on the broken bat grounder throws out Ortiz for the first out for the Red Sox.
Here's a situation now with 1 out. You might want to think about bringing the infield in, and I think that's what Joe Torre's doing. With nobody out, and you bring the infield in, then the chances of a bigger inning much greater. Now you take that 1 shot of a ground ball right to an infielder. The problem is there are an awful lot of balls hit to the left side of the field by right-handed hitters against Andy Pettitte because of that aforementioned fastball on the inside.
And Millar only 1 for 9 lifetime against Pettitte. The infield playing in. Garcia on at third base with 1 out. And here is Millar. Takes a cutter on the inside corner for a strike. Millar, career high 21 home runs and 3 shy of his career standard runs batted in. He has 82. And a .286 average, and what an influence he has been in the clubhouse as well. Here's the 0-1 and a base hit to center field. And Millar driving in his 83rd run of the year, bringing home Garciaparra, and the Red Sox scoring 3 runs here in the first inning against Andy Pettitte. Now you really have to wonder about the Yankees starting pitching, because you know that the 40-year-olds, Clemens and Wells, have struggled, and Pettitte has been, you know, the lone man you could count on along with Messina. Now he's getting hit in the first inning, too.
Yeah. Well, you can't make a mistake against this lineup. I mean, a double play ball hit by Bill Miller back to Pettitte. He throws it errantly to second base. And with Garciaparra, Ortiz, and Millar coming up, you give this lineup an extra out. That's all they need.
I mean, they can come back and, well, they were down 7-1 at Toronto this week. They came back to tie, only to lose 12-9. There's a fastball for a strike.
Down by 2 runs to the Yankees twice last night. A relentless lineup.
And what great confidence for a team to know that even with few innings left, they can always get the run. On deck is Gabe Kapler to throw to first base, and Millar getting back. So the Red Sox with 3 hits in this opening inning. Johnny Damon led off with a stinging single to center field, and Garciaparra hit a drive over the head of Bernie Williams in center field, and then Kevin Millar with a line drive. So all the hits have been to center field up the middle against Pettitte here in the first inning. And swinging and reaching on an outside pitch, fouling it off, and Pettitte ahead 0-2. He has been ahead on most of the hitters here in the first.
The 0-2 pitch to Garciaparra, the biggest mistake that he's made as far as pitching is concerned. We talked about the error, and the error already costly to Andy and the Yankees.
Yankees were in great position to get the double play.
Sure.
Ball was hard hit. So he has gotten himself in his own trouble, and there's the pitch outside. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox coming back. He talked about how they narrowed the deficit, and that's how they've done it.
My gosh. Some shell-shock starters here at Fenway.
Bouncer back to Pettitte, and again goes to Wilson, and the throw to first not in time. So again, Enrique Wilson having to cover over at second base, and maybe the Yankees are fortunate they were able to get even the force on this time.
I think Wilson went after the ball. He went after the ground ball first. Watch him come in and then has to go over. See, he thinks perhaps there's a play on that ground ball. And now by the time he recovers, he makes a fine play. The ball going away from Enrique Wilson, and now Mel Stottlemyre out to talk to Andy Pettitte. I mean, Pettitte looks strong, but he is totally flustered around second base. 2 bad throws.
So I don't know whether Andy thought that Jeter was going to be covering second.
Perhaps he did. We think he should have the last time. But you could see Enrique Wilson coming in thinking he might have a play on the ball, and then he had to react towards second base. They did get the 1 out. There's no chance to get 2 on that play anyway.
So Pettitte is on at first base, 2 away, 3 runs in for the Red Sox, and here is the number 7 hitter, Gabe Kapler, the left fielder. He's hitting .305. Began the season with the Colorado Rockies and was released, and the Red Sox picked him up, and he takes a strike right down the middle.
Thing about the Red Sox, in the last 9 innings, they've scored 13 runs against the Yankees, and that's without Manny Ramirez.
And that's not unusual that a team could rise to the occasion without their big run producer. Ground ball, and that's going to go through in the right field. Pettitte held up and will hold at second. So the Red Sox with their 4th hit here in the opening inning against Andy Pettitte. And runners at first and second with 2 out, and that will bring up Trot Nixon. So a rough first inning for Pettitte, and he can thank himself for much of his trouble.
Andre Wilson does not start a lot of ball games, and here in the first inning, he's had an overthrow back to from where he was coming. He makes a fine play on a ball the shortstop side of second. And now a ground ball through to his left. He's thinking, hey, I haven't started in a month. And all this activity down here. What's going on?
Let's go routine to start it off. How about a slow roller to second?
Give me a high hopper occasionally.
Even a 4-6-3.
Yeah, right. Man.
Want to know the count to Trot Nixon. Hitting .309. Third in the American League in the slugging percentage at .574. Fouls the pitch back on the fastball. That was a good pitch to hit for Trot Nixon. 1-1 the count. I'm surprised, Tim, that this crowd is just so content right now. 3 runs are in, and normally you'd see them a little more revved up when they've got the early strike against the Yankees.
I never thought I would see contemporarily content
right
here at Fenway when the Yankees are in town.
And the off-speed pitch down low. And 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Trot Nixon, the 8th hitter to come up here in the first inning. And there's Jorge Posada, and he had his hands full last night, no pun intended, against the Red Sox with Contreras on the mound.
2 pass balls in the first inning last night by Posada. Yankees scored 2 in the top of the first, and the Red Sox scored 3 in their half.
There's Contreras in the corner of the dugout. Here's the 2-1 pitch. 3-1 now to Trot Nixon. Contreras, after a very impressive outing against the Baltimore Orioles, not allowing a run in 6 innings, found a different situation last night against the Red Sox. And there you see Lou Merloni waiting on deck. He would be next, and that was Contreras' line last night. 3-1 to Trot Nixon. Runners at first and second. Varitek's at second. Kapler on at first base. And 3 runs across the plate here in the first for Boston. And a bouncer back to Pettitte, and he'll make the play. Everything, it seemed, was up the middle in this first inning other than the base hit to right field. The Red Sox cash in with 3 runs, and after 1, the Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-0. And welcome back to Fenway Park in Boston. Dick Stockton along with Tim McCarver. The Red Sox with 3 runs in the first inning. And now the Yankees coming back in the second with Hideki Matsui leading off and taking strike 1 against Pedro Martinez. Matsui with his 38th double rounds it foul. And Martinez jumps ahead of him 0-2. Pedro allowing 1 hit, helped by a great diving catch by Trot Nixon, and his first strikeout of the game. This is outside, 1-2.
That's an interesting point, Dick, because the Red Sox did on defense what the Yankees couldn't do. If Nixon doesn't make that play, it's first and third, nobody out in the first inning.
Another close pitch, 2-2 to Matsui.
Varitek sitting inside, and the pitch stays inside. Fastball.
He's out. Second straight strikeout for Pedro as he gets Matsui to start the second inning with a called third strike.
Number 20, Jorge Posada.
There's that tailing fastball on the outside corner. See, whenever you from home see the fingers, the index finger and the middle finger on the ball, you know it's going to be a fastball or a breaking ball. The changeup, he'll have the finger spread and introduce the ring finger to that pitch.
Jorge Posada with 1 out. And a ball 1 count to Posada. Hitting .167 lifetime against Andy Pettitte. Jason Varitek and Posada. Got to be 2 of the best catchers in the American League. There's a off-speed breaking pitch, and it's 1-1.
Breaking ball, breaking ball. Yeah, Ramon Hernandez of the Oakland Athletics made his first All-Star game this year, but you talk to most guys, these are the 1 and 2 catchers in the American League.
Posada in particular really has moved up a notch and really improved defensively, handling pitchers this season.
Always had a strong throwing arm.
Checks the swing on the fastball high. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Posada, who will be followed by Aaron Boone and Kareem Garcia, the 7th and 8th hitters. Yankees have lost 3 out of 4. The Red Sox, on the other hand, have won 7 out of 8. Swing and a miss on a good fastball by Martinez, and that's his 3rd straight strikeout. And here is today's Sprint Virtual Manager question. As of today, who would win the American League Cy Young Award? Esteban Loaiza, Pedro Martinez, Mike Messina, or Roy Halladay, who the Red Sox beat this week? To answer today's question, use your PCS Vision phone from Sprint or log on to foxsports.com and type in the keyword Major League Baseball or MLB on Fox. And my partner is getting ready to log in and get that vote in as the breaking pitch misses to Aaron Boone.
Tell you, my vote would be Loaiza, Loaiza, if the season ended today. But there's still about a month left and 4 or 5 starts for each pitcher. Pedro has been a victim of non-support this year. 10 no decisions. He's left 4 ball games where he had comfortable leads, including opening day against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Check swing by Boone, and the pitch is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Loaiza coming off a brilliant pitching performance against the Yankees. The Yankees had not played the White Sox, and this week lost 2 out of 3 games, as Loaiza and Colon both pitching effectively in taking 2 out of 3. There's a fly ball hit down the left field line, and Kepler coming on over has a play, and he makes the catch to retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning for Pedro. In the middle of the 2nd inning, the Red Sox lead it 3-0. Big day tomorrow for that man.
Roger Clemens, perhaps his last appearance here at Fenway, certainly his last regular season appearance at Fenway Park.
And it won't be without some emotion. In fact, he was saying that he was driving around Boston on the Mass Pike with his wife, Debbie, and he says they remembered a lot of the good times when they were in Boston. And he made some good friends here as well, as Pettitte falls behind Lou Maloney, 2 balls and no strikes. They all remember the 20 strikeout game against Seattle.
Back in '86, 10 years later, he struck out 20 Detroit Tigers. Speaking of emotional returns, Lou Maloney comes back, Framingham's best.
There's a strike, 3-1. Maloney, very popular. In fact, Paul Mirabelli and Nomar Garcia-Parra, good friends of his. He called him from San Diego, said, I'm heading back. He said, we don't believe it. They didn't believe that the Red Sox reacquired Maloney, but he'll be a good man to have around as he strikes out as the foul tip, or 2 strikes, the foul tip that time. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Lou Maloney, who has, by the way, done pretty well against Andy Pettitte. 4 hits and 14 trips to the plate. And another foul ball, and played his college baseball at Providence College.
Yeah, so. How about his trip here, Dick? Also, on Wednesday, the San Diego Padres were in Houston. He goes from Houston to San Diego, makes arrangements for his car to be shipped back, then takes the red eye on Thursday night.
Couldn't wait to get back. Drive hit to right field, and Garcia coming over to make the catch. So Maloney hitting solidly. Drives out to Kareem Garcia for the first out in the 2nd inning.
Number 18, Johnny.
So that will bring up the top of the order for the 2nd time for the Red Sox. Johnny Damon, who started the Red Sox first with a single lashed up the middle, and eventually came around and scored on Garcia-Parra's triple. Pitch outside, ball 1.
Dick, after the 1st inning, you made an interesting point about how many things have happened up the middle. In that 1st inning, 5 of the 8 batters that came to the plate had something happen that occurred up the middle. Andy Pettitte was busy. Enrique Wilson was busy when the Red Sox scored their 3 runs.
2-0 pitch, and 3 balls and no strikes, falling behind Johnny Damon, and that usually means that the hitters have a beat on the pitcher when they hit it up the middle, as you see Bill Miller waiting on deck for Boston. Pettitte behind, 3-0. 3 balls and 1 strike. And the count full now. 3-2 to Johnny Damon.
If you're talking about ground balls through the infield, there's also more room from the shortstop to the second baseman than any other gap on the infield. So there's more room up the middle, and you're looking at it right there.
Grounded to the right side. Nick Johnson with the toss to Pettitte, covering close, but they got him. Damon with good speed, and having to roam far and wide was Nick Johnson, and that's the second out of the second inning.
All of the things that happened up the middle in the 3-run Red Sox first. Single by Damon. The play by Pettitte, and that was the key play that led to the 3 runs. Another play up the middle, fielded by Pettitte. Nice play by Wilson, and the last out of the inning, up the middle.
And so far this inning, nothing up the middle.
Nothing up the middle. Go figure.
So Bill Miller, who hit that ball up the middle that Pettitte threw off the glove of Wilson for the error, and falls behind Miller 1-0. So Pettitte retiring the first 2 Red Sox, but falling behind on both hitters. Miller having a great year, second in the league in doubles, 6th in on-base percentage. Career season for Bill Miller. And it takes the ball, 2 balls and no strikes. Miller took over full time at third base in late May when Shea Hillenbrand was traded to the Diamondbacks for Byung-Hyun Kim, who has come in as the Red Sox closer and has had mixed results in that role. Fastball on the outside edge, 2-1.
Bill Miller leading the American League in hitting, 17 home runs. Think about the Red Sox lineup. They have 6 players with 20 or more home runs. Miller could be the 7th.
And that would tie a major league record held by the Orioles and the Blue Jays as Miller takes strike 2. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pettitte following the pattern of falling behind the Red Sox hitters and then coming back. And it's 2-2. 2 men out, nobody on base. Playing Miller to pull and fouls it off his foot. So the count remains 2-2. Bill Miller, by the way, achieved a tremendous distinction at Texas this year on the July 29th when he became the first player in Major League history to hit a grand slam homer from each side of the plate in the same game, and he added another round tripper on top of that.
Exactly 1 month ago today. 9 RBIs in that one game. What a night.
And that'll be one of the highlights of the season after it's all over. The 2-2 pitch and a high pop-up, and Aaron Boone will be there to make the catch, and Pettitte retiring the Yankees in order. And we will return to Boston after this break from your local Fox station. First pitch to Kareem Garcia is a fastball inside to him. Garcia getting the start in right field as the Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-0. Yankees hitting here in the top of the 3rd inning. Garcia has some pop, and this one he hits left center field. Coming over is Gabe Kapler, and he makes the catch to retire Garcia for the first out. Well, Pedro Martinez entered today's game with an ERA of 2.27 in his Red Sox career. In today's Radio Shack trivia question, before Pedro, who was the last pitcher with an ERA of under 2.30 in his Red Sox career? Mull that one over.
Louis Tiant, we mentioned him earlier, comes to mind. Mel Parnell, one of the great left-handers. Ellis Kinder.
Breaking pitch on the outside corner, backdoored by Martinez, and is ahead of Enrique Wilson. Wilson, by the way, hitting .375, 6 for 16 lifetime against Martinez.
That's why he's in there today.
And Martinez trying to keep the ball away from him, misses this time, and it's 1-1.
How good is Pedro Martinez? He's 31 years old. He'll be 32 on October 25th.
I don't think anyone wants to face him. Going the other way is Enrique Wilson, and a line drive base hit. So he goes with the pitch, and Wilson now 7 for 17 against Pedro. The Yankees have their second hit of the game.
Dick, it's always fun to say, if a guy ends his career today, would he go into the Hall of Fame? He ended it today. So Sandy Koufax at 30 years old ended his career. Look at the numbers of Pedro Martinez compared to Sandy Koufax. They're better. They're remarkably similar also.
And as you mentioned, the long fingers, Sandy Koufax had them too, to really help him with that incredibly sharp-breaking curveball that he had.
You know, I did not know that until the guys in the truck, Eric Billingmeyer does such a great job, came up with that today. And I was amazed, and I did, how long those fingers are.
I just met Eric today, and you're right, he does do a tremendous job.
Oh, my gosh. Makes our job a lot easier.
0-1 the count to Derek Jeter. And way behind that fastball by Martinez. Jeter, in the first inning, was robbed of a base hit by a diving catch by Trot Nixon.
See, this ball in the fat part of the plate. Pedro is not a guy who uses the corners, but he gets pitchers out by going, he gets them in that pendulum of going forward and staying back. That's why the changeup's such a great pitch.
In on the fist, and it's fouled off to the right. And Martinez is ahead of Jeter, no balls and 2 strikes. It's been an efficient first couple of innings for Martinez, as opposed to Andy Pettitte, who has either fallen behind or gone deep in the counts. Pedro looking for his 11th win of the year, and as Tim mentioned, it's really deceptive when you look at the record, as you look at his pitch total so far, because of so many times he was taken out and lost leads. Way outside, but Jeter was giving it a good watch. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Yankees shortstop. 1 out, 1 on here, top of the 3rd inning. The sun coming in and out here on what started to be an overcast afternoon in Fenway. We had some morning showers. Red Sox leading 3-0 after winning last night 10-5. Finally, Jeter decides to wait no more. On deck is Nick Johnson. Yankees looking to climb back here in this early inning. Breaking ball grounded through the hole in left field for a base hit. And stopping at second is Enrique Wilson, and the Yankees, for the first time today, have 2 runners on base in the same inning. First and second, 1 out.
There are some breaking balls that are designed to break, and there are others that if you get up under it, it starts spinning, and it just spins. That was a spinner to Jeter. And major league hitters don't foul back spinners. They hit them hard. You can see Pedro realized he got under that ball. That's why you hear those terms from pitching coaches, try to stay on top.
Yankees with a threat here, and Nick Johnson taking the fastball inside for a ball. Johnson singled to center field as one of the 3 Yankee base hits. Wilson at second, Jeter at first with 1 away. And Jason Giambi on deck for the Yankees. On the corner for a strike, 1-1. Yankees trying to emulate the Red Sox of last night. Red Sox were down 2-0, got 3 runs. Now the Yankees have a 3-run mountain to climb. 1 ball, 1 strike, and it's up high, 2-1. Pedro Martinez has lost both of his games to the Yankees this year in the 9th inning. Last faced the Yankees nearly a month ago at Fenway Park. Gave up 3 runs. Did not figure in the decision. Check swing, but it's a call strike to Nick Johnson. Evens the count at 2-2. Yankees with the best road record in baseball. They've won 42 and lost 24. And they're going to be, after Toronto, heading home. Red Sox, meanwhile, will be going on a 10-game road trip after Sunday's game. A line drive down the right field line. It's a fair ball and off the barrier and in the stands for a ground rule double. Wilson will score, and going to third base is Jeter, and the Yankees now at the tying runs in scoring position, trailing 3-1.
Boy, did the Red Sox get a break. Had that ball stayed down, it rattles around in the corner. At least Jeter scores. Johnson probably goes to third base. Again, another spinner. You could see Martinez on the release of those two pitches. He's under the breaking ball, and there's nothing left for a breaking ball to do but to stay there and spin. Two costly mistakes by Martinez.
And now facing the Yankees struggling designated hitter Jason Giambi. And takes inside for ball one. Giambi was hit on the right hand Monday night. 18th time that Giambi was hit by a pitch, leading the major leagues in that department. But an opportunity for Giambi with runners at second and third and one out here in the third inning. 3-1 the score. Swing and a miss, and Pedro just challenged him on that one.
Well, Giambi popped that pitch up. Popped it to Pettitte his first time up. It's not a real secret that most American League teams try to pitch Jason Giambi right there inside.
One away. Jeter with the lead at third. Nick Johnson at second. And hit by the pitch. So that's 19 times that Jason Giambi was hit by a pitch. And he was hit on the right hand on Monday night. It really stung. And fortunately, he was able to come back. So the Yankees have loaded the bases here. Jason Pettitte going out to the mound.
That is the 8th time that a batter has been hit by Pedro Martinez this year. 3 of them have been Yankees. You may remember that start at Yankee Stadium when Pedro Martinez hit Alfonso Soriano and Derek Jeter. Both were removed from the game, which called cries not from Jeter or Soriano, but from principal owner George Steinbrenner. This was in that July series, a game lost by Martinez. Soriano was hit, and then Derek Jeter, the next batter, was hit in the right hand. Neither Jeter nor Soriano said anything, but that did elicit remarks from George Steinbrenner.
And there's Soriano on the bench, and Jeter, who's on at third base. Bernie Williams swinging late, fouls off the fastball for a strike. So Martinez having a problem right now. When you talk about the hit batsmen in the last 4 years. Look at that, 45. Red Sox, 19 New York. Giambi with the lead at first base. Johnson on at second and Jeter at third. 3-1 the score. And the fastball rides inside to Bernie Williams, and 1-1 the count to the Yankee center fielder.
I tell you, that is a ton of hit batters over a 4-year period.
Not
45.
even They're not even there if you add them up.
No, much more than 2-1.
Here's the 1-1 to Bernie Williams, and a fly ball deep to left center field. Chasing it, Kapler going over the wall, and Johnny Damon. No, it's Kapler who makes the catch, and scoring is Jeter. Going to third is Johnson. The runners had to hold up, and let's see if Kapler is shaken up in left field as he went into the wall. Or Johnny Damon, that is. Kapler made the catch, and Damon went in there, but you can see that Damon appears to be all right. And the Red Sox trainer Jim Rowe coming out along with Grady Little, their manager, to see how Johnny Damon is. He still has not gotten up.
Dick, it looked to me like the major problem was in the feet. They got their feet tangled up. Damon or Kapler could have caught the ball. Now, Damon gets hit in the face. He may break a nose or something like that, but it's not a damaging injury, it doesn't appear. But it's the feet and the knees and ankles, it seems, that would concern me. Not only after Kapler, who is a weightlifter, by the way. He's been in a lot of muscle magazines, so it's not exactly like running into a small guy. So Damon hit in the face by Kapler, and then he hits the wall. So a double pop, one to the front of his head and one to the back.
And you saw Jeter scoring, and then of course going to third, but remaining at first base was Jason Giambi.
I'll tell you, had Nick Johnson tagged up early on that ball, there was a chance that he could have scored. A chance. Now, I'm not saying he would have, but because Kapler ran into Damon, Gabe's first responsibility was to check out Damon and see how he was. But Johnson had come off the bag, understandably, and he had to go back to second base. So he ends up only at third base, and Damon appears to be all right.
And gets cheers from the fans in the bleachers and, of course, on the monster seats in left field. Johnny Damon crashing into the wall, and you make a good point. They might have banged knees in the process of going after the ball. And Luis Sojo, who a lot of people have rumored may be activated by the Yankees as a utility infielder, and there's Soriano before the game, checking out some of those hard edges that are sticking out from the scoreboard in left field. Now that was not a factor in that last play.
No. But still something with which to be concerned when you're roaming around the monster.
Bernie Williams getting a run batted in his 50th of the year as you get a bird's eye view of the left field wall. And the Yankees trailing now 3-2, and the first pitch is a fastball missing to Hideki Matsui, who was called out on strikes his first time up. Matsui's been a little tired trying to keep that streak going over 1,250 games going back to his career in the Japanese league, and but he has been a warrior and has been kind of tired. And during this week, Joe Torre decided to give him a day off, but he did enter the game for defensive purposes to extend his streak dating back to his career in Japan. There it is, 1,384 consecutive games played.
All Joe Torre can go on is how he feels. I mean, if Matsui wants to continue to play, then a manager like Joe will allow him to continue to play.
Joe Torre has done maybe the best job I've ever seen of a big league manager or coach in any sport to deflect all of the things that are going on around him, either from upstairs or all of the things that happen as a result of what is a day-to-day soap opera that the Yankees face, including that man, David Wells.
No question. Couldn't agree with you more.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and it's grounded foul. Good pitch by Martinez, getting it inside on Matsui's hands. And speaking of David Wells, Wells, of course, who was ripped by the White Sox this week, and Mel Stottlemyre talking about the fact that he hasn't worked effectively between starts, coming back at the Yankees yesterday, saying they don't like him. Another foul ball out of play. Bill Madden of the New York Daily News, I think, said it best. He said the Yankees are the only team in baseball that plays 162 separate seasons. Something every day, Tim.
162 one-game seasons.
Runners at first and third. With 2 away, the Yankees coming back with 2 here in the top of the 3rd inning, and Matsui pops it up to the left side of the infield. And Bill Miller makes the play to retire the side, but the Yankees come back with 2. And as we go to the bottom of the 3rd, the Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-2. The Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-2. And thoughts of below-scoring game going by the wayside. Last night wasn't, and this one isn't either. Fly ball hit deep to center field. Bernie Williams back, makes the catch on the warning track as Garcia Parra sent that ball to the deepest part of Fenway Park.
Almost identical to where he hit the first ball. The difference was this ball had more hang time, and with more hang time, Bernie Williams has a chance to track it down. Of course, when somebody hits one over your head, you're going to play a couple of steps deeper anyway. Good play by Williams.
1 away to David Ortiz, who bounced to Aaron Boone at 3rd, and time called at the plate.
What a player.
Up there in so many offensive categories, not to mention how effective he is at shortstop. Ortiz, Garcia Parra, both having career seasons. tight. 2 balls and no strikes. Garciaparra, talk about the friendly confines of Fenway Park.
The best home batting average in the American League at .391.
2-0 pitch fouled off of Ortiz's foot.
Dick, I find it fascinating the different shortstops in the American League and those that have been now in the National League. This Jose Reyes of the New York Mets, terrific player. He homered from both sides of the plate the other night. Alex Rodriguez with the Texas Rangers. Many feel the best player in the game. I do. But I don't think anybody can combine the skills, the passion for the game that Nomar and Derek Jeter have, the 2 shortstops opposing each other today. Then Miguel Tejada, last year's American MVP, who has picked it up. Oakland Athletics, one of the hottest teams in baseball right now.
So the American League really blessed with some outstanding shortstops, and holding up was Ortiz. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. We talked about how both of these catchers, 2 of the best in the league, and even a notch above that, both of these shortstops are in their respective positions.
And big game players, guys who love the game.
3-1 pitch, high drive, hit to right field, going in the corner. This one is gone. David Ortiz with a home run, and now he has hit 7 homers in the last 8 games, and the Red Sox have taken a 4-2 lead. Number 23 for Ortiz. And what a pickup. Talk about Theo Epstein and the moves he's made. How about David Ortiz and what he has meant to this club after being released by the Minnesota Twins.
That ball down and in, and when a big, strong left-handed batter like Ortiz sees one down and in, all he does is drop the bat head. Right there. Just drop the bat head. And when you're that strong, it'll go. And it does. 23rd home run of the year for Ortiz.
Kevin Millar takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Not only, as we said, was it the 7th homer in 8 games for Ortiz, but his 6th homer in his last 6 starts. So David Ortiz hitting cleanup. And the Red Sox without Manny Ramirez. Here's a guy who has 31 homers, 90 runs batted in, playing the 2nd straight game out with the throat ailment. And as Grady Little said, look, other guys getting a chance to play, and Ortiz getting an opportunity to hit cleanup this afternoon. Left-handed batter against Andy Pettitte. He's come through. Sharply hit ground ball to second base. Enrique Wilson makes the play for out number 2. And right now, here's Jeannie Zelasco with a game break.
Well, you know, the Red Sox nation appreciates offense, so here's some more. Top 3 in Pittsburgh. Javi Lopez. It looks long, but it's a deep double. Good enough to send home 2 runs. Same inning. This one would go out. Mike Esma, 2-run home run, his 2nd of the season. Giles added a home run as well. It's a 7-run 3rd inning, but now top 4. It's 8-1 Atlanta.
Best record in baseball, the Atlanta Braves pounding it out again today.
Jeannie Zelasco talking about the Red Sox nation. David Halberstam, the great writer, author of The Teammates, had a remarkable article about RSN yesterday. Red Sox Nation. What a great article. Front page of the sports page in the sports section in the Boston Globe. And that great line by his friend who was painting his house. He said, first the Red Sox did it to my father. They killed him. And now they're coming after me.
Yes, that's a great line. And you know, everyone talks about Red Sox Yankee rivalry. In New York, they feel that way too, but they say we've dominated this team. You know, the Red Sox have only finished ahead of the Yankees twice in history when the Yankees finished 2nd. The other times they've done it, the Yankees were not even factors. And so they say, you know, it is a rivalry, but let's face it, we've won most of the time. And you remember what George Steinbrenner said the last time the Red Sox took 2 out of 3. He said they haven't won anything yet.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But they've cut the gap, that's for sure. 2-1 pitch out in front of that one, swings and misses. And 2-2 to count to Jason Varitek.
Well, the way the Red Sox have been playing, you'd think that the Yankees are trying to catch them. I mean, the Yankees are still 4 games ahead in the loss column.
Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. So that will be the first strikeout of the game for Andy Pettitte. But the Red Sox get a run back on David Ortiz. 23rd home run into the right field stands. 4-2 Boston after 3. Well, last night a lot of runs crossing the plate early, Tim, and same here today as we go to the 4th inning. The Red Sox lead the Yankees 4-2, and much ballyhooed pitching matchup with Pettitte and Martinez, and both teams have cashed in. Here is Jorge Posada leading off, and when he leads off an inning this year, is hitting .357 with 8 homers, so he's dangerous in this situation. Takes a breaking ball for a ball, 1-0.
The type of game that you expect from these two teams. There are rarely any 1-0 games, 2-0 games when the Red Sox and Yankees meet.
Fastball hit to right field, and looking up and gone. Home run. And Martinez got that pitch right out over the plate.
Looked like a breaking ball again. All 3 Yankee runs have come as a result of the breaking ball. Flat breaking balls. I think from a catcher standpoint in a situation like that, you get away from it for a couple innings. It might come back. This is a flat breaking ball. And you can see Martinez just looks at Posada disgusted.
So once again, Jorge Posada, who has been a terror leading off innings. That is his 9th home run this year when he has led off an inning, and brings the Yankees to within a run, 4-3. And there he is, the best run-producing catcher in the American League. And the first pitch outside to Aaron Boone, who flied to left his first time up. There you look in the dugout at the lineup card. So Posada bringing the Yankees closer, and the 2nd home run of the game.
The only other home run that Posada hit against Martinez was the first time the Yankees were here this year, and it was to lead off an inning.
2-0 pitch to Boone, fouls off the fastball. The 2 home runs today by Posada, leading off here in the 4th inning, and David Ortiz in the bottom of the 3rd, homering with 1 out, both landing in the right field seats. So Pedro lead, cut to 1. Comes inside and falls behind Boone, 3-1.
This is Aaron Boone's first time to ever face Pedro Martinez in a regular season game. Aaron said he had faced him many times in spring training, much to his dismay.
And his first time being part of this Yankee-Red Sox rivalry.
Only his 94th at bat.
Right.
The Yankees' first time to come to Fenway Park. His mother, Sue, is here today. His father, Bob, who was fired as the manager of the Cincinnati Reds earlier in the year, is in Philadelphia for Tug McGraw's birthday party thrown by the city of brotherly love.
Fouls it away. So how's that traveling all going to work now for
Not
these guys?
going to work out too well. And now listen to this. Now we talked about Lou Merlone and his cross-country trip. Bob Boone is going to Cincinnati tomorrow to go to Aaron Boone's apartment and get a U-Haul trailer. Aaron's youngest brother, Matthew, will be coming down from Dayton. He's a baseball player.
I got it.
He played minor league ball, and they will be driving the U-Haul across country to the Southern California area to Aaron's home.
What a great Labor Day travelogue.
Laboring travel days for Bob Boone and son Matthew. My gosh.
Better get some sleep.
Yeah.
3 balls, 2 strikes, and Boone hits a fly ball to left field. Looking up, and this one is going to be off the wall, high off the wall. And Boone going into second base, standing with a double. So only a few feet from landing into the first row above the wall where they used to have that net here at Fenway Park. And all of a sudden, the Yankees are playing power ball. They're trailing by a run, and Boone is on at second with none out.
I'll tell you, if they had the net there, then the Yankees tie the ball game. It would have draped down far enough because, as you said, Dick, it only hit about a foot from the top of the wall. So Bob Boone will have his trip across country made shorter, knowing that Aaron Boone just doubled to keep the Yankees alive here in the 4th inning.
So the tying run at second base, still nobody out, and here's Karim Garcia, who lined out to Kapler in left and reaches and misses for strike 1. I'm sure a lot of the Red Sox fans would have wished that Bucky Dent's ball would have been maybe a foot or so below the net.
Oh, yeah.
Back in '78 in the playoff game, which the Yankees won that one-game playoff and broke the Red Sox hearts yet again. One strike to count to Garcia. On at second base is Boone. Rounded foul. And the count 0-2.
How can I break your heart? Let me count the ways. Over and over and over. You said in the first inning, 85 years since the Sox have won a world championship. 1918.
And you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and invariably does, and usually it does about, you know, this time of year. But the Red Sox making inroads on the Yankees. There's a line drive, base hit to right field, and Boone will be held at third base as the throw from Nixon comes back to the infield with nobody out. Willie Randolph is not going to take any chances, so the Yankees will have runners at first and third, still none out, and the tying run 90 feet away.
Ball was hit too hard, and now Pedro Martinez wants to talk to Jason Varitek. Rarely will a pitcher stop a catcher that close to home plate to talk to him.
Well, our Radio Shack trivia question, this would be a good time to get to it. Pedro Martinez entered today's game with an ERA of 2.27. Before Pedro, who was the last pitcher with an ERA of under 2.30 in his Red Sox career? And the answer is, I'm sure everyone knew this one.
Man.
Yep. Babe Ruth then was traded, I think, to another American League club. And that kind of changed the course of things.
Changed the landscape in the Northeast.
And this is what we're all about. And there's a base hit to right field. Enrique Wilson will drive in. Boone going to third is Garcia. And the Yankees have tied it up 4-4 here in the fourth inning and have the go-ahead run at third base. So the Yankee bats coming alive against Pedro Martinez. And Dave Wallace, the acting pitching coach, Tony Cloninger, who, by the way, has cancer of the bladder in remission. Good news, and on the scene is here. But Wallace, the acting pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to Pedro.
Pedro has thrown a lot of flat breaking balls, and this a flat fastball as Enrique Wilson put in the game for Alfonso Soriano because of how well he does against Pedro Martinez. His second hit of the day, he scored a run and driven in a run.
And the Red Sox with bullpen activity here in the fourth inning. The Yankees have 8 hits, and Derek Jeter, up for the third time, robbed of a hit, singled and scored a run his last time up. Runners at first and third, ground ball to third base. Miller going to second, and that's all they'll get. And a good takeout by Enrique Wilson, preventing the throw to first. But holding at third was Boone, and Jeter is on at first base.
First and third, I tell you, this is a tough play for the runner at third base. Kareem Garcia had the hole because had he broken toward home, then Merlone comes home. But Merlone can see him peripherally, and since he didn't break, he takes the sure out of Wilson at second base.
And yes, it was Garcia on at third base who held, and there you see him holding.
See, if the ball's hit hard, then you take off. But when the ball's hit in between, if you take off, then the play's going to be at the plate. And you end up with first and second, 1 out. As it stands, it's first and third and 1 out.
And Nick Johnson, who has 2 hits today against Pedro, a single and a double, driving in 2 runs.
That is always a very tough play for the runner at third base. Bronson Arroyo is now warming for the Red Sox. But with nobody out first and third, you have to make sure the ball is hit hard on the ground to break home.
Quick toss over to first, and Jeter getting back. So Arroyo brought up from AAA, and the Red Sox sent Casey Fawcett back down. He's been up and down like a yo-yo this year, and Arroyo, a 26-year-old pitcher, claimed off the Pittsburgh Pirates roster. Here's the pitch to Johnson, in there for a strike, 1-1. tied at 4 here in the top of the 4th inning. And 1 out. The Yankees with runners at first and third. So the Yankees have reached Martinez for 2 runs in each of the last 2 innings, and looking for more right here with Jason Giambi waiting to hit. Pitch inside, and it's 2-1 now to Nick Johnson. So Nick Johnson and Enrique Wilson have been the dangerous hitters against Pedro Martinez. Not to mention Posada with a leadoff homer here in this inning.
Thing about Johnson, on that pitch away, he'll go away. He will not try to pull it. A good average hitter to left.
Missing inside, and 3-1, and 1 pitch away from loading the bases to Giambi.
I think Pedro thought that last pitch was a strike, asking for the count from home plate umpire Mark Carlson. Finds himself in the hole again.
And a dangerous hitter and another dangerous hitter on deck. And here goes Jeter, and the foul at the plate. So Jeter was running on the pitch, and he'll come back with the count full 3-2.
If he was running 3-1, he'll certainly be running 3-2, to where the mentality of the infielders change with the runner running. With 1 out, normally they'd go for the double play, but now if you shorten and on a ball that's not hit that hard, perhaps you come home on a ball like that.
Pedro will have the 75th pitch upcoming. Pettitte through the early pitches, and we'll watch Jeter at first base, and he takes off, and the pitch fouled away, this time to the left side. So we'll come back and do it again. It all started with Posada with a home run. Leading off here in the 4th inning, his 25th of the year, and 76th run batted in. And the Yankees have gotten some good production from the lower half of their batting orders thus far. 3-2 again, and Jeter will be off again. Jeter runs, and a pitch fouled off, so a good at-bat for Nick Johnson. And Pedro now getting up there in the number of pitches, approaching the 80 mark, and we're only in the 4th inning. Grady Little and Dave Wallace talking perhaps that subject over in the Red Sox dugout.
Mentioned earlier that Pedro Martinez had a throat infection. Obviously, he's not very strong for this start, and you can see it in his pitches. There's no extra pop at the end. The breaking ball is flat. Fastball flattened out to Enrique Wilson.
He did win his 1 start after he came back from that throat infection. Pharyngitis was the name of what it was, and they're not sure whether Manny Ramirez has exactly the same. And Pedro went to 6 innings in that Monday game. The runner off, and another foul ball. So 8 pitches now have been thrown by Martinez to Nick Johnson in this at-bat.
It's rare that you see a first baseman hitting in the number 2 hole. Wow. Telling graphic right there.
Pedro having his way in the first 2 innings, but the picture has changed, and the crowd somber right here at Fenway. Another sellout on hand. Crowd, the clouds enveloping Fenway. Again, the 3-2, but first to throw over to first base. Jeter, not much of a lead, but he'll be running. Dick Stockton and Tim McCarver here at Fenway Park. These teams will meet again next Saturday as the venue shifts to Yankee Stadium. 3-2 pitch. Jeter runs, and another foul ball.
That breaking ball had some snap on it. That was a late breaker in on the hands of Nick Johnson. Best pitch he's thrown Johnson in this at bat. See, Johnson thinks it's going to be up, and the ball with that little late break ties him up. That is a good breaking ball for Martinez, the first one he's thrown in 2 innings.
So we'll see what Martinez has in mind. They set up on the outside of the plate, but a line drive going the other way, and coming in to score is Kareem Garcia, and the Yankees take a 5-4 lead. So just as he said, Tim, Nick Johnson, with the ability to go with the pitch, did just that as Varitek set up on the outside part of the plate, and Johnson just stroked it to left field. For his 3rd hit of the game, he has 39 runs batted into the Yankees, who were trailing 3-0 in the first inning, now lead it by a score of 5-4.
What a feisty at bat by Nick Johnson. Lee Mazzilli, sounds of the game here on Fox. We'll try to get you that after this pitch.
Jeter holding at second base, and still 1 out to Jason Giambi. Pitch is in tight, ball 1. Here's Lee Mazzilli.
There you go, kid. There you go, kid. Nice hitting, kid. Way to go, Nicky. Nice job, kid. That's a great at-bat. Way to battle him. Nice at-bat.
And it was. He fouled off about 10 pitches. He made Martinez work. He also made Jeter work running to second with the 3-2 pitches. And then Nick Johnson finally got a base hit to left field for his 3rd RBI. He's knocked in 3 of the 5 runs. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss on the changeup to Giambi. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Giambi has reached base once last inning when he was hit for the 19th time this year, and leads the major leagues in that department. Yankee runners at first and second. 1 away. It's been a long inning for Pedro Martinez. Pitch outside 2-1. Bronson Arroyo has been throwing and now stopped. He has taken his warm-up tosses. Red Sox looking for the double play that would get him out of this inning. Yankees in front 5-4. They have wrapped out 9 hits against Pedro. Fastball swung on and missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Thing about Pedro, it's tough for him to get a ground ball double play. There's only been 1 ground ball out, and here we are in the 4th inning. That was a ball hit by Derek Jeter.
2-2 pitch. Foul back. Jason Giambi missed a couple of games with an infection in his eye, and that kind of slowed him up. When that cleared up, he kind of emerged from the slump that he was experiencing at the time. He hit only .204 in April, but a .373 hitter in the month of June. 2 runners on, have their leads. The 2-2 pitch to Giambi, and a high fly ball hit to right field. Trot Nixon tagging up at second is Jeter, and at first base as well. Jeter will go to third base after the catch by Nixon. So there are 2 down here in the 4th inning, and Jeter goes to third. Holding at first is Johnson.
Jeter went to third because the way Trot Nixon caught the ball. He caught the ball back on his heels. That ball with enough hang time to where you can properly be going into the ball to keep Jeter at second base. He still might have made it, but he was not that deep and not that shallow. There at least should have been a play. But watch him back on his heels. When an outfielder catches a ball like this, it's much easier to tag up and take the extra base.
Or at least coming to the ball.
Sure. Going into the ball, and I'm sure Derek had entered his thought process going to third because of the way Trot Nixon caught it.
Bernie Williams 0 for 1. Knocked in the Yankee run in the 3rd inning with a sacrifice fly, his 50th RBI of the year. 1-0 the count to Bernie Williams. So Nick Johnson on at first, Derek Jeter at third. 3 runs in for the Yankees. They have scored 5 in the last 2 innings to take a 5-4 lead over the Red Sox. So you never know. The Red Sox coming in with their ace today, and the Yankees have reached him in the early innings. But the way the Red Sox bats are so potent, this could be a high-scoring game all the way. Grounder, big hop to Millar, steps on the bag to retire the side. 8 Yankees come to the plate. They get 3 and take the lead for the first time, 5-4, as Posada started it off with a home run. And the first pitch to Gabe Kapler in the 4th inning is a called strike from Andy Pettitte. Pedro Martinez, who has been hit hard the last couple of innings, now on the short end of the 5-4 game. Kapler holds up, and 1 ball and 1 strike to Gabe Kapler. Kapler hitting .368 against left-handed pitchers for the Red Sox, and this has been his hot month, so he's come alive at the plate. Fouls off this breaking ball, and it's 1-1.
Pedro Martinez had to stay out on the mound for 22 minutes in the top of the 4th inning.
Bottom third of the order, Kapler followed by Trot Nixon and Lou Merloni against Andy Pettitte, who has a new life here for the Yankees. Fastball outside, 2-2. Andy Pettitte looking for his 17th win of the year and hoping for his second 20-win season. He was a 20-game winner 7 years ago. Chopped foul at the plate.
I guess in football they would say that they're leaving the defense too long on the field, right? That's
Right.
what Pedro did.
That's right. That's right. They need a breather, you know.
And
you got to get a couple of first downs.
You will be doing more than yeoman duty next Saturday and Sunday, as you will be doing the Yankee and Red Sox game, and then go to the Meadowlands the next day for the opening of the NFL.
I'll be working with you on Saturday, and I'm taking you with me, and you're going to work the Sunday game too. How about that?
I'm going to work with Moose.
Yes.
I have a chance to work with Moose. I love it.
Strikeout. Gabe Kapler goes down, and the second strikeout. You'd love working with Moose.
I know I would.
And right now, it's time for our Pepsi Fan Cam.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can.
They're Red Sox fans. They're glum right now. 5-4 the score. There's a glum fan in the Red Sox cap.
Looks like Andy Pettitte.
That's right. Get out on the mound. There's a Cub fan. They've got a lot to cheer about. Trot Nixon calls strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes to Nixon, who was out on a comebacker his first time up. Nixon 0-5 in his plate appearances in his career against Andy Pettitte. Hitting in the 8th slot for the Red Sox tonight. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Andy Pettitte now finding the groove. That is the second out and his 3rd consecutive strikeout of the game.
Second
Well, he just blew Trot Nixon away from there with that high fastball. A guy like Andy Pettitte, in fairness, is healthy and doesn't have the side effects and the lingering effects of a bad throat or the flu-like symptoms that Pedro Martinez had. So it's doubtful that Martinez can come back like Pettitte has done. I mean, that's the way I'd look at it.
And that's exactly the way it is, and it has to do with how you feel as well, as the cutter is over for a strike. Red Sox with bullpen activity. There's a drive hit to right center field. Chasing it is Garcia, and Garcia makes a great catch. Karim Garcia in full stride, extending himself, makes a great catch, and that had extra bases written all over it. Andy Pettitte getting help from his defense. Another 1-2-3 inning, and after 4, the Yankees lead by 1. New pitcher for the Red Sox, and the first offering is inside to Hideki Matsui. Bronson Arroyo, and you know he's fresh out of the farm club with the number 61, 26-year-old who was with the Red Sox in spring training, brought up earlier in the week. Coming in for Pedro Martinez, who worked 4 innings, gave up 5 runs on 9 hits. Arroyo with his first Major League save Monday against Seattle. You saw his numbers there as Matsui fouls it off, and the count 2-1 to him.
It was that blowout game that the Red Sox had against Seattle, and because Arroyo pitched 3 innings in that game, the last 3 innings, he did earn his first Major League save. But he pitched a perfect game on August 10th down in the International League.
Well distinguished, only the 4th in the 120-year history of the International League.
Pitched it for the Pawtucket Red Sox, the AAA affiliate of Boston.
And Matsui draws a walk to start the 5th inning. And right now, here's Jeannie Zalasko with a game break. Jeannie.
Well, just when you thought it was safe to call it a win for Atlanta, here come the Pirates. Craig Wilson launched one. Driving home, Jason. I'm still here, Kendall, and Reggie. I can't believe he's still there. Sanders. It is Atlanta, though, still with a pretty big lead, bottom 6.
All right, Jeannie, thank you very much. So the Pirates not awed by that big early lead by the Atlanta Braves, Tim.
Atlanta, a very, very good ball club, but such a different club this year, led by offense and not pitching.
And here's Posada with a line drive throw to first, double play. Posada lines to Merloni and quickly gets it over to Kevin Millar to double up Matsui. And the Yankees now with 2 away. A bang-bang play all the way on a hard hit ball.
It's an understandable thing for Matsui to get doubled off on this play. The reason is if the ball is through, then he's on third base. So you can't watch the line drive on a ball hit to the right side of the infield. If he's doubled off on a similar ball hit to the left side, then it's a mistake. But on that one, just credit Merloni with quick hands.
And just breaking on the pitch, which is a natural thing for the base runner to do.
Absolutely. You take one step and you're dead, and that's what happened to Matsui on that play.
So Aaron Boone, count no balls and a strike to him, singled his last time up against Pedro, and way in front of that off-speed breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes to Aaron Boone, who has really played sterling defensive play for the Yankees at third. His arm and his range. The Yankees, of course, had Robin Ventura at third, and Todd Zeile later on was traded.
See how Boone took that pitch? When you take that pitch that off balance, a lot of times major league hitters take like they hit. That off balance. See, you could almost see that coming. Aaron is really struggling.
Bronson Arroyo in his first inning of his career against the Yankees. Well, the Yankees went against the grain and knocking out Pedro Martinez after 4 innings, and the Red Sox find themselves on the short end of a 5-4 score as Johnny Damon leads off against Andy Pettitte here in the 5th inning. Fastball inside 2-0. Damon 1 for 2, singled and scored a run in the first inning. And a called strike 2-1 to Johnny Damon.
Normally a catcher will not get a strike pitch when that ball jettisons out of a glove like that.
Andy Pettitte settling down and struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he's faced. And on the outside corner for strike 2 to Damon. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The only non-strikeout of the last 4 was the great running catch made by Kareem Garcia to end the 4th inning. Full count now to Johnny Damon leading off in the 4th. Will be followed by Bill Miller and Nomar Garcia-Parra in what has been a high-scoring series so far. Miller on deck. The 3-2 pitch and a looper into right field. Chasing it is Garcia. He's there to make the catch. So Garcia doing the job in right field for the Yankees today. Well, the NFL returns to Fox on Sunday, September 7th, with a doubleheader, beginning with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy get you ready for the kickoff. Rams take on the Giants. Both teams try to put the disappointment of last year behind them, and then Dallas and Atlanta. So how will the Falcons be? A lot of people think even with Doug Johnson, going to be pretty good. And the Dallas Cowboys, of course, the story there, the debut of Bill Parcells as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course, people in New England familiar with Bill Parcells and how fast he can turn around a franchise.
Yes, he can, and he's decided on Quincy Carter as his quarterback. And, you know, this team is going to hustle, if nothing else. Bill Miller fouling off the second pitch. No balls and 2 strikes to count. I think the Falcons, even with Norm Johnson, might do pretty well. They have a very solid club and one of the better defensive teams. But
Michael Vick should be back in, what, 8 weeks or so?
well, maybe a little less. It could be 6 to 8 weeks. Missing him is a huge blow, not only to the Falcons, but to the NFL in general. Fastball is in tight, 1-2. Andy Pettitte with a rocky first inning. Much of it of his own doing with a throwing error as the Red Sox scored 3 runs. Home run by Ortiz in the 3rd inning. Other than that, Pettitte has settled down nicely, Tim.
Yeah, if it weren't for that throwing error by Andy throwing the ball behind Enrique Wilson. Childhood heroes, Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens. He and Clemens very, very tight now. He's learned the workout routine from Clemens. Roger Clemens in his last regular season appearance ever tomorrow.
That'll be
at Fenway Park.
Big day. Fastball, strike 3. Miller was overmatched there, and that is the 4th strikeout of the game for Pettitte. Here is the WebMD health report on the Yankees and the Red Sox, and there's a lot to report, Tim.
Well, I should say so. Ramiro Mendoza with a bad knee. Lyon with an elbow. That's Lyon after he was returned after the trade. Jeremy Giambi with the shoulder ailment. And David Dellucci with the Yankees, who sprained an ankle the other day.
Dellucci was a good member of that bench. Good speed, good defensive outfielder. Yankees and the Red Sox both have had to shuttle their rosters to a great degree this year. Nomar with the count, no balls and a strike, takes strike 2 on the inside corner. And Pettitte doing an exceptional job of moving the ball in and out on batters now.
Yeah, this is where he made the mistake in the 1st inning on the 0-2 pitch when Garciaparra tripled.
Fouls off the outside pitch, and Pettitte remains ahead of Nomar. No balls and 2 strikes.
The formula that a pitcher and a catcher try to use with the count 0-2 is make a hitter reach. If he reaches and plunks one off the end of the bat, there's nothing you can do about that.
Took something off that one, and a pop foul. Chasing it is Nick Johnson, but it lands into the crowd.
If a guy breaks the bat on a ball inside, off the plate, nothing you can do about that. Break a bat and get a hit. But when a ball's a fat fastball, like Pettitte threw to Garciaparra in the 1st inning, that's a real mistake.
Here are the pitching comparisons. Martinez already out of the game, leaving after 4 innings. And the pitch count. Pettitte with number 91 coming up right here, and a line drive base hit to left field by Garciaparra, his 2nd hit of the game, and a 2-out single for the Red Sox, and he represents the tying run. And David Ortiz coming up, and this was his last at bat, Tim.
Ouch! Fouled one off his foot, and then fouled one off the pesky pole right to the right.
Right here.
Huh?
Right there. That hurt. It's all good. I'm a big boy.
Yes, he is a big boy. Is David Ortiz, 6'4", 230 pounds, and swings and misses on the first pitch, strike 1. 1 for 2 for Ortiz, and homered in that 3rd inning. Now has 7 homers in his last 8 games, and his last 6 starts is homered in each of those games. So he has been a powerhouse and hitting cleanup today with Manny Ramirez out with the throat infection. Garciaparra back to first base.
I think your point earlier about David Ortiz, about the power he has to left field, will show itself in his next 3 at-bats. Pettitte came in, he hit the ball down the right field line for the home run. They're going to come back inside. Nope.
And a breaking ball and fouled, and it was just enough inside, so he would have to foul it anywhere near that plate, and Pettitte might have been in trouble.
Well, you know, everybody talks about mistakes. I mean, there are a lot of pitchers that get away with mistakes. That was a mistake, and it was fouled off. Garciaparra, however, on that 0-2 pitch, that was not a mistake, and he hit hard to left field. It's a real mistake. Curveball backs up.
1-2 now to Ortiz. Garciaparra, professional hitter. I mean, that's why he's amongst the league leaders in so many categories. Second in hits, got 181 right now. Ortiz has had a successful career against Andy Pettitte. Grounds it through the hole in left field. And there he is going with the pitch. And how much you can help your batting average and run production when you use the whole field and not just half the field, as Garciaparra stops at second.
That's what makes this Red Sox team different, is their approach to the plate. I mean, that is a quality pitch by Andy Pettitte. You're coming inside, you're coming inside. Posada sets up outside. That pitch off the plate away. And Ortiz hammers it to left field, and the Red Sox keep on coming. RSN, Red Sox Nation.
So the runners now at first and second, and Sox with a rally here with 2 out. As Pettitte retired the first 2 hitters, he had struck out 3 of the previous 6 batters before Garciaparra and Ortiz reached him for base hits. Here's Kevin Millar, who has an RBI single in the first inning, 1 for 2 in the game. 5-4, the Yankees lead. The Red Sox with a tying run at second in the dirt, and a good stop by Posada.
That was a terrific play by a guy who's been much maligned behind the plate, Jorge Posada. Certainly in past years he was maligned. And he smothers this ball in the dirt. Tell you, a lot of it, in fairness to Posada, he's had a lot of different guys to deal with this year, particularly in the bullpen. So is Pettitte. But the Yankees, with these myriad turnovers, my gosh.
1-0 pitch, fastball on the inside corner. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. 18 different relievers have joined the Yankees this year. And when you have a Grand Central Station scene in the clubhouse, how can you get chemistry to it?
How could the chemistry's tough? I think Joe Torre's done a great job. But I think Posada has done a fine job catching all of the different types of pitchers that he's had to deal with.
1-1 to Millar. Got a good pitch to hit that time and fouls it off. 1-2. And you wonder whether Pettitte will give him another pitch like that. Highly doubtful.
Yeah, when you see a hitter shaking his head like that, you know he just missed one. That ball right down the pipe.
One and 2 to Kevin Millar. Garciaparra at second, Ortiz at first. Strike 3 called, and that'll do it. So the Red Sox with a couple of hits after 2 are out, and Pettitte with another strikeout, his 5th of the game. And after 5, the Yankees lead the Red Sox 5-4. Top of the 6th inning here at Fenway Park. Dick Stockton along with Tim McCarver, and Kareem Garcia, who has stung the ball twice, has 1 hit on the afternoon and has made a gem of a catch leading off against Bronson Arroyo, whose first pitch is way outside, ball 1. Here is Garcia robbing Lou Merloni of extra bases with a running catch near the warning track with 2 out in the 4th inning. Swings and misses on a good Arroyo fastball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Garcia will be followed by Enrique Wilson, who's already had a big day today, and then the top of the order, Derek Jeter. Yankees lead 5-4, scoring 2 in the 3rd and a 3 in the 4th inning. 1-2 now to Garcia, acquired from the Indians in late June. He was once traded from the Diamondbacks for Luis Gonzalez, the World Series hero.
1 for 1. That's right.
Went to the Detroit Tigers 4 years ago, maybe 5 seasons ago. In tight.
I don't know what Grady Little's plans are for Arroyo, but I'd keep a short tether on Bronson Arroyo right here. I mean, you're still in the ball game. You're run behind.
2-2 pitch and a high fly ball. Just missed that one. Coming over is Trot Nixon and makes the catch for the out.
Almost a wraparound.
Talk about pesky pole.
Pesky pole. I mean, it's a lot to, there's a lot to ask of a young pitcher. Only his second major league appearance for the Red Sox. Talked about his save on Monday. But you think about that 5th inning, there was a walk and then a line drive for the double play. I mean, it looks like it was a good inning in the box score, but when you see the game, you know it's not.
It certainly wasn't. And you know, the Yankees seeing Arroyo for the first time, but all you have to do is make one mistake, and any one of these guys can hurt you, including Enrique Wilson, who was 2 for 2 against Pedro. Lashes this foul behind Lee Mazzilli, and 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Ball girls very active today. Enrique Wilson, very valuable infielder for the Yankees. 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, has scored 2 runs and has an RBI as well. The 1-1 on the outside corner. So the backdoor breaking ball is successful for Bronson Arroyo. 26 years old. And led the International League with 155 strikeouts. Comes up high on Wilson to even the count 2-2.
He does have an unusual delivery with that high leg kick. Kind of a flip of the left foot toward third base. And there's that perfect game about which we talked.
He jammed him, and a fly ball hit deep to right field. Trot Nixon back and makes the catch very near the barrier. So Wilson got jammed, but sent that ball deep for out number 2.
Yeah, sometimes it's in trying to judge a pitcher, it's not that he gets the outs, it's what kind of outs he gets. We've had a line drive off Bronson. We've had a fly ball that was close to going out down the right field line, and now this one by a guy who is not a home run hitter.
And Wilson knew that he had missed it. It's a 2-out, and there is Nixon, who kind of knew he was going to make the play all the way. Pitch inside, and Jeter is hit and not happy about it at all. Will trot down to first base, and Tim already chronicled for you when Pedro hit both Jeter and Soriano earlier in the season.
First baseman
Roger Clemens going tomorrow.
Johnson.
And here's just a young pitcher. He's trying to survive in the major leagues. There is no intent right there whatsoever.
No, not at all. And
no.
Talk about young. How young does he look? Getting back is Jeter.
He's going to have a chance to see how a big league player takes a lead and perhaps runs right here. Running situation with the left-handed hitter up and 2 outs.
Nick Johnson 3 for 3 on the afternoon, and a changeup is in for the strike. No balls and 1 strike. Nick Johnson with 2 singles and a double, 3 runs batted in, and he has been the key Yankee at the plate, hitting second today as the Yankees shuffled their batting order against Pedro, and they were able to knock him out after 4 innings of play. Out in front of that one, fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
Nick Johnson is single to center, double to right, and single to left. All 3 outfield positions.
Everyone gets a chance when Nick hits.
That's right. He is an outstanding minor league hitter. Some injuries on the big league level, but he can hit.
Pitch misses away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nick Johnson's uncle is Larry Boa, who of course you played under, or played with, I should say, with the Phillies.
Thank you for correcting that. I would never forgive you if you said I played under Larry Bowen.
You hit 310 last year, didn't you, Tim? Rounded to the left side, and Miller's only play. And it's the third out to first base to retire the side. Look to second, makes the play. Great to have Tim, after a great career in his first year, working in the booth. Still 5-4 Yankees. Trying to find some answers against Andy Pettitte, who has settled down nicely. And Jason Varitek leading off in the bottom of the sixth inning, fouls the first pitch up over the roof for a strike. Varitek reached on a fielder's choice and struck out in his first 2 times. Jason getting a lot of support as a great team leader for this ball club. One of the anchors of this team fouls it off the other way, 0-2.
Fine article in the Boston Globe yesterday morning about his leadership abilities, how his preparation takes him into every game. Future manager, certainly a possibility for Jason.
Fly ball hit to right center field, and Kareem Garcia making the play for out number 1. 1 out in the 6th inning. Andy Pettitte, who found himself down 3-0 with the Red Sox scoring 3 runs in the first inning. The Yankees came back with 2 in the 3rd. Ortiz hitting a home run to give the Red Sox a 4-2 lead, but then the Yankees with 3 in the 4th took over the lead, and Andy Pettitte has settled down nicely. 1 out to Gabe Kapler, who has 1 hit in 2 trips. 1-0 the count to Kapler. Kapler playing left field with Manny Ramirez ailing with the infected throat. Was expected to come to the park and see the doctors today. 2-0 to Kapler, and Grady Little held out a possibility that if he did come earlier and the report was okay, the diagnosis, that he might be available for pinch hitting, but that's gone by the wayside. There's a ball hit to right field, and Garcia, not having to move much, makes his second put out here in the 6th inning.
Right fielder, number 7.
Andy Pettitte, who's had great success not only against the Red Sox, not only at Fenway Park, but in day games. Andy Pettitte has pitched much better in day games, where his ERA is 2.47 versus an even 5 runs at night. So he likes the daylight as he looks at Trot Nixon, who is 1-0 for 2 on the day. Nixon, a strikeout victim in the 4th inning. Comes inside, 1-0.
Andy, a contact pitcher. He's actually better off when he gets the hitter to hit the ball on his terms. When Andy strikes out guys, it's much like a little guy hitting a home run. When a little guy hits a home run, he thinks he's a home run hitter. When Andy strikes out a guy, he thinks he's a strikeout pitcher. He's not.
Alan Embry, who's been pretty effective lately for the Red Sox, warming up in the bullpen. But that's a good assessment of and a good way of looking at what Pettitte does. 1 ball and 2 strikes as Nixon offered at that pitch.
Yeah, went too far. I mean, Andy will get his share of strikeouts, but again, he's not Clemens-esque when it comes to strikeouts.
2 balls and 2 strikes, but he may be Clemens-esque as far as the regimen and the workouts are concerned.
Boy, he certainly is all of that.
Roger Clemens will work tomorrow, and barring activity in postseason, if the Red Sox and Yankees meet in the ALCS, this would be his last appearance of his career at Fenway Park. And strike 3 as Trot Nixon could not hold up his swing. A 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte, and we go to the 7th here at Fenway Park. The Yankees and Pettitte lead the Red Sox 5-4. Zombies swinging at the first pitch, and Johnny Damon makes the play for the first out as Grady Little showing a lot of confidence in young Bronson Arroyo, and this is his 3rd inning on the mound. He's had some close calls. He is not allowed a base hit, and Little hoping that he can keep the Red Sox close and not let the Yankees get any more runs.
Dick, I'm surprised that Alan Embry's not in the game right now. I mean, you've got Giambi, the switch hitting Bernie Williams, and then another left-hander. So 2 of the 3 left-handers right here. And I mean, that's Alan Embry's job. You're going into September. You have, of course, Bronson Arroyo has done a good job as far as the results are concerned, but Yankees have hit a lot of balls hard.
And this one just going foul, and Bernie Williams with a drive into the right field seats. And you got to think that the Red Sox have to be holding their collective breaths right now, hoping that no more damage is done. This kid has done a good job, but
he's done fine as far as the results. You know, he's dancing through the raindrops right now, though. I mean, that's Alan Embry's job. If you lose with your best, or if the Yankees extend it against your best.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
And he might retire the Yankees 3 up, 3 down. You don't know, but I'm just saying, with your odds right now are to put the guy in that's paid to do it and been paid to do it all year long, and not a recent call-up.
I mean, you reach this big series with the Yankees in another one, and you put a lot of responsibility in the hands of the young pitcher.
You do.
Getting it done. Lou Merloni making the play, and they're 2 down. Well, this week's clutch performance, brought to you by Viagra, is from Sunday's A's-Blue Jays game. At the top of the first inning, Ramon Hernandez goes deep with the bases loaded for Oakland's first grand slam of the season. Then in the 6th inning, Miguel Tejada, Tim referred to that earlier, followed that up with a grand slam of his own. And for the first time in the 103-year history of the Athletics, they hit 2 grand slams in the same game. Now that's clutch.
How about that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
All the years in Philadelphia, all the years in Kansas City, and
playing at Old Baker Bowl and Shibe Park.
That's right. Yeah.
My God.
And how about going to Oakland? You know, with those great 3 straight championship clubs that they had.
Right.
Reggie
72,
Jackson.
3 and 4.
Exactly. Matsui takes a call strike with 2 out. 0-1. Overcast afternoon. The lights were turned on early. We had a smattering of sunshine at one point during the game. Good pitch by Arroyo in for a call strike 2 to Matsui. There's the panorama of Fenway Park. Packed as usual for the Yankees. They get great crowds anyway. Grounded to the right side, and Kevin Millar will make the play unassisted. A 1-2-3 inning for Bronson Arroyo, who goes 3 innings without allowing a hit. 5-4, Red Sox 7. Lou Merloni will lead off. And Merloni, who just joined the Red Sox yesterday and getting a start against the Yankees.
Dick, when these 2 teams get together, it's anything but vanilla.
That's true. Yeah, it's multi-flavored and multicolored. Merloni 0 for 2, robbed of a hit by Kareem Garcia. His last time up, takes a call strike from Andy Pettitte. Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed. 0-2. Jeff Nelson is tossing in the Yankee bullpen. Nelson with the Yankees for the 2nd time of his career, picked up from the Seattle Mariners.
Jeff Nelson's getting loose for Nomar Garciaparra, either in the 7th or in the 8th.
Absolutely, and the whole Yankee game plan is to get to Mariano Rivera.
Right.
To have the lead, to get to Mariano Rivera. When they can do that, they're okay. When they're way behind, as they have been in recent days against the White Sox and the Red Sox, they haven't been able to do it. Rivera did come in the finale and pitch an inning plus against the White Sox to salvage a game of that series.
Mariano's had his problems lately, but in the whole scheme of things, he is very, very important to the Yankees winning.
Key man for sure. Pitch outside, 3-2 to Merloni, leading off, followed by the top of the order, Johnny Damon and Bill Miller. Red Sox have 7 hits, but only 3 in the last 6 innings. Fouled off, and the count remains full. Lou Merloni giving the Red Sox, first of all, a player who could spell Bill Miller at third base, depth in the middle infield which they could use, and another right-handed bat. The left-handed slants of Johnny Damon wait to hit.
Interesting play on words there. Spell Bill Miller. Most people who spell Bill Miller would spell it M-I-L-L-E-R.
Right, exactly. Maybe Merlone is a good speller, and he says, I can spell this guy's name.
M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
I thought they meant go in and play for him occasionally. Merlone strikes out, and that is the 7th strikeout for Andy Pettitte. Here is today's game summary brought to you by GMC Professional Grade.
Center fielder.
Pettitte sailing along after giving up those 3 runs early, and Martinez gone after 4 innings.
We're going to try to show you between pitches what one of Pedro's problems was today, just getting under that breaking ball.
Johnny Damon bluffs the bunt and takes low for ball 1.
That's what happens a lot of times when pitchers are fatigued. So there is at least something to the fact that Pedro was under the breaking ball, as shown here by the flat breaking ball that Posada hit out of the ballpark. That pitch hurt him and was responsible for at least 3 Yankee runs today.
Hopped up to second base. Enrique Wilson with the catch, 2 down. Very interesting how Pettitte adjusting.
Every pitching coach will tell a pitcher, and that's what they preach constantly, is stay on top of the ball. Stay on top of the ball. That's why the legs have to stay strong, because when the legs are strong, it allows the upper body and the arm to stay on top of the pitches that allow them that downward movement. The more downward movement, the less chance a guy has to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Bill Miller looks at a fastball, 1-0. Miller is 0 for 3, reached on the throwing error by Andy Pettitte in the first inning, and that was the underlying reason that the Red Sox were able to cash in with 3 runs, although Garciaparra hit a stinging triple, but it should have been a double play for the Yankees in the opening frame. That one is over for a strike, 1-1.
I think this is the last hitter that Andy Pettitte will face this afternoon. Even though there are 2 outs, trailing by 1, there is no way Joe Torre will allow Nelson not to come into this game and pitch to Garciaparra.
Bounce to shortstop. Jeter. And a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte as he retires the last 7 that he's faced. And we now go to the 8th inning at Fenway with the Yankees clinging to the 1-run lead.
Andy Pettitte coming into the Yankees dugout and giving the handshake du jour.
It isn't.
The fists. But from all outward appearances, it appears that he's done. But Jeff Nelson has sat down in the Yankee bullpen. Nomar Garciaparra leads it off in the 8th inning. We'll see what Joe Torre's thinking is.
And here is Bronson Arroyo coming out for his 4th inning. And his first pitch to Jorge Posada is a strike. So Arroyo, in the 3+ innings, hit a batter, walked a batter, and struck out a hitter. And Posada, with his 25th home run of the year, back in the 4th inning, takes strike 2. And Nelson, it would seem likely, because he would have the right-handed hitting Garciaparra to lead off, and then Kevin Millar, the 3rd hitter of the year, in between David Ortiz. The 0-2 pitch, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Posada.
And a lot of it could depend on whether it's a 1-run game at the time. The Yankees score 1 here, perhaps Pettitte will go back out there. But if it's a 1-run game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, as he took something off the pitch. And the 2nd strikeout for the 26-year-old from Key West in Florida.
A diving breaking ball and a good one from Arroyo. How about this? 5 days off. You come in to face the New York Yankees. Not even a hiccup over 3 1/3.
Ball 1 to Aaron Boone, and it looks like he can change speeds. Jeff Nelson, who sat down, as you mentioned, now warming up again, and will apparently come in the bottom of the 8th inning. A breaking pitch missing inside, and he wanted that one. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Aaron Boone. Bronson Arroyo And he's got Alan Embry, the left-hander, who's up for the second time in the Red Sox bullpen. 2-0 pitch, line to left field, and that's going to be off the wall. Fielded by Kapler. Going to second base is Boone, and he's in with a stand-up double. So you hope you don't go to that well, if you want to call Bronson Arroyo a well, too often, because the Yankees now, with one out, have an insurance run here in the 8th inning on at second base as Dave Wallace picks up the phone to the bullpen.
Yeah, with Kareem Garcia up, Embry is warm and loose. I mean, really, what more can you expect out of Arroyo?
Well, you have the left-handed batter, and you have the left-handed pitcher, Embry, who
Right.
has had good success as of late. The Red Sox relievers have been spotty at best, but Embry has been effective, and that's going to be all as Brady Little, making sure Embry is ready, makes the slow walk to the mound. And that will be all for Bronson Arroyo. So got him out of there before some real damage was done. And so we're going to take a break here at Fenway Park. Top of the 8th inning with the Yankees leading by 1. Bronson Arroyo in the Red Sox dugout, but moments ago leaving the game to the applause of the fans here in Fenway Park. Give him a standing ovation in his second appearance in the major leagues. Working 3 1/3 innings, allowing 1 hit, striking out 2, walking 1, and he's responsible for the runner on second base. And Alan Embry is in, the left-hander, and the Yankees are going to go to their bench and call on switch-hitting Ruben Sierra to bat for Kareem Garcia.
If it were a straight-up move by Joe Torre, you'd be weakening your defense, but the fact that he has Juan Rivera for defense allows him to hit Ruben Sierra for the left-handed hitting Kareem Garcia. Embry's numbers on the year has been a terrific setup man for the Red Sox over the last couple of years.
He's not allowed to run in 12 of his 13 appearances in the month of August, so he is pitching well when the Red Sox have needed it the most. So here is Ruben Sierra, who won a couple of games early for the Yankees, and his attitude has been terrific. Pinch hitting for Kareem Garcia with runner at second base and 1 out. Here is Embry's first pitch. It's a fastball for a strike. Ruben Sierra, remember when he played for the Oakland A's, bulked up, went into the weight room a lot, tried to hit home runs and failed, and now that he has slimmed down, he seems to have a much quicker bat. Second time that he has been with the New York Yankees. First time wasn't as pleasant for Ruben and for Joe Torre, but this one has worked out well. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and the runner going, and the pitch fouled off, and a good jump that time by Aaron Boone, who was running on the pitch on the slow delivery by Embry.
Well, that's the time to do it with 1 out and a right-handed hitter up. How about Bill Miller at third base, acting like the ball were hit his way? Aaron Boone, a third baseman. Watch Bill Miller act like a ground ball is hit his way. That's the decoy from third. You don't see that often.
That's a heady move by a veteran player.
It really is. You see it around second all the time. But Bill Miller using it at third effectively. You can see Aaron Boone slid then, and the ball's a foul ball.
No balls and 2 strikes to Ruben Sierra. Long look at second base, and fouling back the high fastball was Sierra.
This is a point that we've made a couple of times this summer. In case fans think that third base coaches give the runner on at second a steal sign, a coach at third base will never give the runner at second base a steal sign, ever, unless it's 3-2 and running on that particular pitch. It's all feel around second base. He will never convey the steal sign to a runner at second base unless there's a 3-2 count. Now there is one caveat to that, and that's a hit and run play. 2-1, a hit and run. Then he'll give him the hit and run, but never will he give him the steal sign.
Interesting point. Aaron Boone with the lead at second, and Lou Merlone trying to keep him close behind the bag, trying to bluff his way. Here's the 0-2 delivery. First they go back to second base. So Red Sox, having already seen Boone try to go to third on the pitch, and that's an important runner in this ball game with the Yankees leading 5-4. We're in the top of the 8th inning, and you know that they're getting close to Mariano Rivera time, about 1 inning away from that, and the Yankees would dearly love to get an insurance run right here. They've had to come from behind in this game, and they've done it, and they've held things out, and time is called, and Pettitte will go out to the mound.
I think Jason, one of the problems, and about the only problem he has, with runners on at second base, there's too much concern that the runner's going to get the sign. Often he'll go back there and won't even give a sign. He'll go out and tell the pitcher what to throw without giving a sign. The problem with that is the middle infielders don't know what pitch is coming, and usually their position is such it's based on what pitch is coming. He probably won't give a sign here. He didn't.
Embry 0-2 to Sierra, hits a drive to center field, and Johnny Damon coming in, going back to tag up and bluffing as the throw comes in to the infield, and the pinch hitter Sierra retired for out number 2, and Embry gets a big hitter with 2 out here in the 8th inning. Major League Baseball is giving away World Series tickets for life and other great prizes in the Ultimate World Series Pass promotion presented by Radio Shack. Winning hologram numbers will be announced throughout games 1 and 4, with the grand prize of World Series tickets for life announced in game 4 of the 2003 World Series. Don't miss the 2003 World Series. And my partner today, Tim McCarver, will be in the booth along with Joe Buck. Great team. Looking forward to listening throughout the playoffs to you guys, and nobody does it better.
We do. Thank you very much, Dick. We don't know who it'll be, but we do know that the American League will have the advantage in a 7-game series.
That's right, and you were there when they established that advantage in the All-Star game.
In Chicago. And it could be the White Sox. That's how well they're playing right now.
Enrique Wilson playing well today with 2 hits and an RBI and 3 trips. Embry behind 1-0 to Wilson, 2 down, and Aaron Boone with the lead at second base. Fastball and a strike, 1-1.
The American League Central, Kansas City and Chicago are tied for first place. Minnesota half a game back. White Sox have lost a couple of games. In the National League Central, same thing. Houston and St. Louis are tied, and the Cubs are a half a game back.
And how about that wild card derby in the National League?
Oh my gosh,
that is phenomenal. So many teams. I believe there are 10 of them in all, if I can count right. Maybe I can. But that's the story with the Phillies and the Florida Marlins even, and Houston and St. Louis behind. Call strike right at the knees, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes to Enrique Wilson. Alan Embry, the 3rd pitcher of the game for the Red Sox.
Boy, he is throwing hard out there. He threw hard to Sierra. And this fastball just overpowers Enrique Wilson.
Traded from the Padres to the Red Sox a year ago in June, trying to end the inning, and a foul ball out of play. Alan Embry, of course, an experienced pitcher. Pitched in 4 games in the World Series for the Cleveland Indians back in 1995. When the Indians were in their heyday.
And the Atlanta Braves won the World Series that year, the only World Series they won in the 90s after reaching the World Series 5 times.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Aaron Boone off at second here in the 8th inning, and a base hit to right field past the diving Kevin Millar. Rounding third, scoring is Aaron Boone, and the Yankees have taken a 6-4 lead. So a great at-bat for Enrique Wilson, who installed in the lineup today at second in place of Mariano, and gets 3 hits on the game. Soriano sitting this one out, and Enrique Wilson with his 3rd hit of the game.
You could see Pettitte wanted the pitch up, and he got it about waist high. Pettitte standing up behind home plate. He'll do that occasionally when he wants the high fastball. There he is right there, standing up. He wanted the high heater. He got it about 2 feet lower, and Wilson did the rest. Another fine day for Enrique Wilson. There aren't too many better utility guys in the game than this guy.
3 for 4 for Enrique Wilson. Soriano sitting this one out, but his replacement certainly has come up big in this game. Foul out of play by Jeter. No balls and 1 strike. That run, by the way, is charged to Bronson Arroyo. That's Gabe White. Joe Torre and Don Zimmer, his chief lieutenant, talking things over, and Jeff Nelson, who is ready. 2 out, 0-1. The count to Derek Jeter, who was 1 for 3 today. And going over to first base.
One more time, a look at Pettitte. He's standing taller than Enrique Wilson. How many times do you see that? And Wilson just punches it by the diving Millar at first base.
Terrific bat control by Enrique Wilson. Fastball misses outside, and Embry wanted that one. Yankees talking about getting another utility infielder that they were interested in Lou Merlone. Luis Sojo, who played in the Mexican League this year and hasn't played in a couple of seasons, and works with the Yankees, has been mentioned as a possible addition before the rosters are set midnight tomorrow. And it is expected that Joe Torre, as he normally does in postseason, will have 10 pitchers and 15 position players. And right now he has 11 pitchers on the roster. 0-1 to Derek Jeter, batting leadoff today. And Jeter hits a fly ball to right field. And going back is Trot Nixon. Nixon looking up, and it bounces off the barrier, coming around to score. And now they're going to say it is a ground rule double, as the fan had touched it leaning over the barrier. So it'll be a double. And Joe Torre is going to argue this one, as Enrique Wilson, who was on first, will have to go back. Now, I wonder if they can rule that Wilson would have scored, but here is Torre.
That's right, they could. They could if it's fan interference. If it's a ground rule double, you can't do that. If the ball bounces into the stands and hit a fan in the stands, then you can't do that. But the fact that Wilson would have scored had that ball stayed in play. So normally when an umpire grabs the wrist, it's a fan has interfered. It's not a ground rule double. So I think Torrey's saying, did the ball bounce high enough to bounce into the stands? If in the umpire's judgment the ball was hit to the right part of the field, and now Willie Randolph trying to help him out. That's first base umpire Paul Nort. No, it bounced into the stands. That should be a ground rule double. Yep. That is another break for the Red Sox.
Yeah, it was not interfered with by the fans. It bounced out.
Ground rule double, you can't allow the runner to score. Had a fan interfered with it by leaning into the field of play, then Wilson could, but he did.
It bounced
clearly
in and then bounced out.
That's correct.
So when the ball bounced out, you might get the feeling, and Joe Torre probably did, that the fan had reached for the ball.
That's right.
So
had there been no fans down there, it would have rattled around the stands. Joe said, I know what you're saying, talking to Paul Nart.
You're the best lip reader I've seen in years. Joe Torre talking to all of the umpires over there. And of course, if this goes as a ground rule double and the runner goes back to third, that'll be the second time in this game that the Red Sox have benefited by balls in which the runners would have scored had it not been. And that was Nick Johnson in the third inning, where if a fan would have interfered, the run would have scored.
See, if the ball bounces into the stands, it's a ground rule double. On a ground rule double, the runner at first must stay at third. Had the fan reached down onto the field and interfered, then in the judgment of the umpires, if the runner at first, in their judgment, could have scored, then they can allow him to score, even though it's still only 2 bases for the guy who hit it, in this case, Jeter.
Now, what would Joe be arguing now if that is the rule, that a ground rule double, even if it looked like Enrique Wilson was, you know, rounding third?
Yeah, I don't know, because a ground rule double is a ground rule double is a ground rule double, said Willie Shakespeare.
Who hit 286 for Pawtucket 1 year, right?
He hit a lot.
He hit a lot, didn't he?
He hit a lot. Willie Shakes wasn't too bad.
Willie hit better than Ted Williams, actually.
He was Ruthian.
So runners at second and third. Jeter with a double, and Enrique Wilson go to third. And here is Nick Johnson, and no picnic for Alan Embry, even though he is facing a left-handed batter. Johnson is 3 for 4 with 2 singles and a double and 3 runs driven in. 6-4, the Yankees lead here in the top of the 8th inning. Ball 1. Jeff Nelson and Gabe White working in the Yankee bullpen. Nelson the right-hander and White the southpaw. Yankees in front 6-4. That's setting up the way they wanted right about now. And a line drive to center field, base hit. And 2 runs will come around to score, and the Yankees have opened up an 8-4 lead. Nick Johnson with a 4-hit game, coming up big for the Yankees. And maybe the series is a matter of who comes from behind. The Red Sox did it last night. The Yankees had a 3-0 lead. The Red Sox today, and the Yankees have come back and now lead it.
What a day by Nick Johnson. I mean, he has scalded 4 balls on his way to a 4-hit game, 2 RBIs. He has been right in the thick of everything, and the Red Sox do not know how to get him out.
And there's the base hit again, sharply hit to center field. A throw over to first base to keep Johnson close. So a 4-hit game for Nick Johnson. And the 4th hit of the inning for the Yankees. Jason Giambi. Ball strike to him, 2 out. And Johnson on at first base. 3 runs across the plate. So the Yankees have played big inning in this game with 2 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and 3 more here in the 8th inning. This is his second 4-hit game of his career. Fastball fouled back. No balls and 2 strikes to Giambi. 0 for 3 and reached once on a hit batsman. So Joe Torre's Yankees seeing Andy Pettitte hit early, and then Pettitte settling down and everything working the way the Yankees would like it. They want to get to the 9th inning for Mariano Rivera.
I think your comparison to last night's game is right on. I mean, it's a game that was mirrored, only the other side is winning, and that's the Yankees. Yankees are doing today what the Red Sox did last night.
Exactly. And they've been on their heels as of late, the Yankees have, as Giambi swings and misses. Strike 3, and that'll do it, but not before. 3 runs cross the plate, and in the middle of the 8th inning at Fenway, it's the Yankees 8 and the Red Sox 4. And a new right fielder for the Yankees, and it's Juan Rivera. Ruben Sierra pinch hit for Kareem Garcia, and so Rivera, who was just recalled from Columbus, is out in right field, and Jeff Nelson, who's had a long wait, Tim, will be coming in for the Yankees, dealt by the Mariners back to the Yankees for Armando Benitez early August.
Yeah, Jeff had a long wait in the bullpen today, and he waited happily as the Yankees tacked on 3 more runs to make his job a lot easier, particularly with the meat of the Boston lineup coming up.
Yankees have out hit the Red Sox 13-7. The Red Sox have had 10 or more hits in 9 straight games, and that particular milestone is in jeopardy for them. As Nomar Garcia Parra leading off and time called, as Posada wants to go make sure with Jeff Nelson they're on the same page.
Jeff Nelson, who was with the Yankees formerly before he went to Seattle, was a gladiator of sorts. And that's kind of what Joe Torre will be in about 2 months. We'll tell you why.
I'm interested to hear this story.
Well, he's a gladiator right now. I mean,
but he's
4 world championships in 8 years. Not too shabby.
Sidearm delivery by Nelson in for the strike. 0-1.
Joe's daughter, Andrea Ray, who is, I believe, 6 years old. She could be 7. Allie Torre is listening right now, and she's saying, she's telling me the right number. There it is right there. This is at Old Fenway Park, right back here. Fenway Park before the Green Monster was enlarged.
And that'll be Joe Torre.
That will be Joe Torre on Halloween this year.
Right.
Andrea Ray already has his outfit selected for him. He had to try it on before he came to Fenway.
Are they going to sell tickets for this? Pitch is outside to Nomar. And
That
1 and 2.
That, of course, was not Joe. That was Russell Crowe in the movie
Right, yeah.
Gladiator. But
Scott Sauerbeck warming up for the Red Sox, the left-hander in the bullpen. A high drive to left field. And looking up, and this is off the wall. And Garcia Parra will go in a second. The wind blowing in kept that ball from going over the wall for a home run.
that is exactly right. Fenway is unique in that it has little wind pockets in this area. That's one of them out there in center field. But in left field, the wind is kicked up. It's very muggy here in Boston. It's supposed to rain later on this afternoon.
Feels damp now.
It does. It does. You can almost smell the rain. It's a great summer thing. It's not so good if you're a hitter and you feel that gust of wind rob you from a home run. Or, yeah, from a home run.
I've always wondered who will stop the rain. You know, it's one of those questions that Anyway, Garcia Parra with a single, double, and triple. Here as Ortiz takes inside ball 1. Garcia Parra missed a hitting for the cycle with a triple last night. Right now, all he needs is a home run, but Ortiz has hit a home run with 1 out in the 3rd inning. He is 2 for 3 on the day as the Red Sox. You know, 4 runs is not insurmountable for this team.
Yeah, that's why those 2 hits by Wilson and Johnson were so important. One run game in this ballpark, nothing. Enrique Wilson has just been terrific, as has Nick Johnson, the right side of the Yankee infielder, with 7 hits today.
Mariano Rivera along with Gabe White throwing in the Yankee bullpen. That one not even close. 2 balls and a strike to David Ortiz, who has had the home run swing without question recently. There you see Mariano Rivera, number 42, and of course Gabe White in front of him. 2 balls and a strike. Swing and a miss, waved at that one, and evens the count in the process.
Breaking ball behind in the count with a 4-run lead. That's a good pitch in a tough situation. Fastball count, breaking ball.
The lead at second by Garcia Parra. Nobody out, pitch outside. And it runs full 3-2 with Kevin Millar on deck for the Red Sox. Joe Torre said these games this week and next week wouldn't decide who would win unless the Yankees would maybe win 7 out of 8, something like that. It's going to be decided by a lot of the other games, but these don't hurt, do they?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
3 balls and 2 strikes. And the crowd into it as Ortiz fouls the fastball back and stays alive. Red Sox go on a road trip, 9 games, where they'll play a makeup game with the Phillies in Philadelphia, then the White Sox, the Yankees, and Orioles. Not an easy task, especially since they dropped 7 of 12 to Baltimore.
Understandably, the Phillies didn't want to lose the gate. Over 50,000 to see the Red Sox play that day in June when they were rained out.
Here's the 3-2 again to Ortiz. Ball 4 inside, and the Red Sox have the first 2 runners on base here in the 8th inning with Kevin Millar. And today's great feat of the game, presented by Dr. Scholl's, the 4 hits by Nick Johnson, driving in 5 runs for the Yankees. Nick Johnson hitting second today with a single in the first, a 2-run double in the third, an RBI single in the fourth, and a 2-run single in the eighth. And Mel Stottlemyre walking to the mound to talk to Jeff Nelson, who is struggling here.
Well, that's all Mel will do is talk. I'm trying to think along with Joe Torre. This is too early for Mariano Rivera. Not only that, but if Nelson gets the ball down, he is more apt to get the double play ball than even Rivera would. So with the right-hander up there, clearly it's too early for Rivera.
Well, Rivera did come in the 8th inning in his last save, which was against the White Sox on Thursday. So
he's an 8th inning pitcher. I'm not saying he wouldn't come in a situation like this, but not with nobody out when you need a ground ball. He doesn't throw hard-hit ground balls for double plays, but Nelson does.
First pitch is ball 1 to Kevin Millar, who is 0 for 1 against Jeff Nelson. The on-deck hitter, Jason Varitek, 0 for 6 against the big righty. So Garciaparra with a leadoff double off the wall, and Ortiz, who drew the 3-2 walk. 1-0 the count to Millar. Bounces it slowly to the left side, and Jeter goes to second, and that's all they'll get. So the force at second erases Ortiz. Millar is safe at first on a fielder's choice as Garciaparra goes to third with 1 away here in the 8th.
So Nelson got the ground ball. You know, ground ball double play is one of the weirdest things in baseball. Because what a team tries to do, they try to get a hitter to hit it hard enough to where they can turn the double play. If you don't hit it hard enough, you may get the ground ball and get 1 out, but you don't get 2, and that's what happened then.
But if you hit it hard enough and it's a little to the left or right, you've got the base hit.
It's a base hit. That's right. It's weird.
Here's Jason Varitek. Switch hitter batting left-handed for the first time. Fastball in there for a call strike. Varitek 0 for 3 this afternoon. Yankees lead it 8-4, bottom of the 8th inning. And the Red Sox with runners at first and third and 1 out. That's down low. Mariano Rivera has been throwing in the Yankee bullpen. Gabe White, the left-hander, up as well, and Scott Sauerbeck, the southpaw, who was picked up from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Both teams trumping each other with relief pitching moves throughout the year. Swing and a miss by Varitek, and it's 1-2. I've never seen a year when two clubs have been made so many moves.
No, you're exactly right, Dick. I mean, it's almost one-upsmanship at a major league level.
And it may not be over.
No, that's right.
There's Sauerbeck and Mariano in the Yankee bullpen. Crowd in full throat here at Fenway Park. And the pitch hits Varitek. Jason Varitek hit by the pitch with the count 1-2. And Jeff Nelson now will find that the bases are loaded with 1 out to Gabe Kapler, who's going to go back into the dugout. And let's see if Todd Walker comes out to pinch hit for him.
That's exactly who it's going to be. Of all things, hit right in the seat of the pants. Posada very upset. So we've had a walk and a hit batsman by Nelson. And I think Joe Torre will make a move right here. I don't think it's going to be Rivera. I think he may go to the left-hander, Gabe White, but it might be Rivera. Both are warming, and both are warm, and here comes Torre.
With 1 out, if he does go to Rivera, he's got a problem with the bases loaded. I know that Joe doesn't like to bring him in that kind of
that's true.
Tenuous position. But Torre going to the mound, and one of them is coming in. And it's going to be the left-hander, Gabe White, former Cincinnati Red, coming in a key situation in the 8th. We'll be right back. In the brief time that they have faced each other, Todd Walker has 1 hit in 2 trips, and that 1 hit was a home run.
Wouldn't you know it?
So that's the way this sets up with Todd Walker, not a power hitter by any stretch of the imagination, but has a home run against Gabe White, and a home run right here would knot the game. But Gabe White may have other ideas. No balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Trot Nixon is on deck. And Walker holds up, and it's 1-2. McCarty is on deck for the Red Sox, and he will pinch hit for Trot Nixon. A reminder, Manny Ramirez did not play last night, unable to play with a throat infection. Had a high fever and a pop-up to the left side of the infield. And Derek Jeter makes the play for out number 2. So 2 down. And David McCarty will come in and pinch hit now for Trot Nixon. With 2 down.
Ladies and gentlemen, pinch hitting for Nixon, number 10.
And here comes Joe Torre, and he's already signaled to the bullpen. Gabe White got the lefty out that he needed to get out, and though a pinch hitter is coming in right now, he's going to go with Mariano Rivera.
Well, he made the Red Sox go to the move for the right-handed batter. Now they're going to have to counter with another left-hander, all the while wearing down their roster.
You're right. Well, this is where the Red Sox miss Manny Ramirez.
No question.
By that extra player. So Mariano Rivera coming in. We'll be right back. The respective managers, Joe Torre of the Yankees and Grady Little of the Red Sox, matching wits here. And what is like a game you would see down the stretch of late in September, 8-4, and the benches and the bullpen's wearing thin about this time, Ken.
Yeah, another reason this is a game that resembles a September game is on Monday you can expand the rosters. Actually on Tuesday after the 31st, you can expand the rosters to 40 players from the present 25. And both managers are using players right now, not only pitchers, but pinch hitters also, like they had the expanded roster. But it's still at 25, and for that reason, Grady Little has to allow Dave McCarty to bat for himself.
They're the runners with their leads, 8-4 the score. Mariano Rivera in, and the first pitch up high to David McCarty. McCarty hitting .278 with 1 homer and 6 runs batted in, and Rivera coming up with a save. Thursday against Chicago has 6 blown saves on the year. Trying to end the 8th with the bases loaded. And there's a strike, 1-1. McCarty has faced Rivera twice at the plate and has 1 hit against Mariano. McCarty batting for Trot Nixon. That's when White was the pitcher, and then Joe Torre going to the bullpen for Rivera. Just outside, 2-1. Lou Merlone on deck for the Red Sox. They have Damian Jackson, Doug Mirabelli. That's all they've got left for pinch hitters, and a foul ball over the roof to the right. 2-2. Yankees trying to even the series at 1 apiece. The Red Sox, who were down 7.5 games to the Yankees in the American League East 10 days ago. Slice 4 off of that lead, cut it to 3.5. Want to keep the momentum going, but the Yankees looking to keep it at arm's length. Red Sox 5 years in a row have been second in the division behind the Yankees. Fouled it, and watch out, Merlone almost got hit by that vicious foul off to the right.
That's that cut fastball, and you do have to be alive if you're on deck with a right-hander up. Merlone in the top of your screen going, whoa! Put that ball in play, Dave.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Dave McCarty. 3 runners on base, and another foul ball out of play. So again, the significance in the American League East. Red Sox, who climbed to within 3.5 games behind the Yankees, and of course the Red Sox are in another race as well, and that is in the wild card derby, where they're a half a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners, who won last night. And the Orioles lead the Mariners 1-0 early in that game. So the plot thickens. There's a line drive to left field, and it's going to be played off the wall by Matsui. Garcia Parra scores. One run in second and third. And 2 runs cross the plate, and it's an 8-6 game. So Kevin Millar and Garcia Parra score, and a pinch hit 2-run double by Dave McCarty against Mariano Rivera cuts it to a 2-run game.
You rarely see Rivera make a mistake in the middle of the plate. Usually he'll break a bat. But Dave McCarty with a rope to left field. And now here comes Mel Stottlemyre. Damian Jackson will be the pinch runner, and no doubt stay in the game and stay in right field. And a key 2-out, 2-run double by Dave McCarty has closed the gap for the Red Sox. My goodness.
So the Red Sox get speed where they need it at second base, because that's the tying run, and Dave McCarty getting congratulations. And now let's see what Mariano Rivera does. And you know, Joe Torre, you know, he has said he willing to do it, doesn't always like to bring Mo in the 8th inning.
Yeah, and he had made such good pitches on McCarty, getting McCarty to foul him off. One almost hit Merloni, and here's Merloni.
Ball 1 low and outside. And of course, you look at the season for Mariano Rivera, and he's fallen off a bit. And of course, in the last 16 games, his numbers have not been impressive. Behind 1-0 to Merloni on the corner. 1-1 to Merloni. So Merloni coming in back to the Red Sox, and all of a sudden finding himself not only in a big series, but a huge game starting here in the second game of the series. Red Sox having won last night. Damian Jackson off at second as the pinch runner for McCarty. The runner at third is Varitek, and it's 1-2 now.
I think that's where Rivera's going to stay. He got that pitch outside. That's where he was trying to pitch McCarty successfully. And then he ran that ball over the middle of the plate. McCarty doubled. I think he'll stay away again.
And he does, and Merloni fouls it back. So Merloni expected that pitch to be away and just got a piece of it. Red Sox with the tying runs in scoring position as you take a look at that last pitch. Runners at second and third, and 2 out. 2 runs across the plate, 8-6 to score here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The 1-2 pitch to Merloni. He holds up, and it evens the count 2-2. And with the Red Sox, you can never relax. There is no lead big enough, Tim. And the bullpen activity for the Red Sox. Again, the 2-2, 3-2. So, Tim, just as you said it, Mariano Rivera has kept the ball away from Merloni, fouled off 1, and now the crowd on his feet. Runners at second and third.
And Rivera playing very shallow in right field, and appropriately shallow with Merloni the hitter.
Top of the order would be next. Here is the 3-2 pitch, and fouls it into the crowd.
No way will Rivera come in on Merloni unless it's a mistake. He's been burned once this inning, not again.
Johnny Damon would be next if Merloni could keep the rally alive. Again, the 3-2 to Merloni. Ball 4, and that loads it up. Bases are loaded for Johnny Damon, the left-handed batter coming up against Mariano Rivera. So now the lead run is on at first base for the Red Sox against Joe Torre's club. And here's Johnny Damon, who's 1 for 4. 1 up high. Pettitte is at third. Damian Jackson, the pinch runner, at second base. Lou Merlone, the runner, at first. 8-6 New York. Check swing, breaks inside. 2-0 now.
Check with Ed Rapuano, the third base umpire. He said he did not go around, and it showed right there. He did not go around.
Right down the middle, and Johnny Damon had to know he was going to get a good pitch from Rivera there. Two balls, one strike, 2 out, bases loaded. Fouled off to the right. 2-2 to Johnny Damon.
That's what Rivera makes you do as a hitter. He makes you jump at the ball. We saw the pitch that was very close to a check swing, and that ball nubbed off the fist of Damon.
Way high, and the count is full. 3-2 with the bases loaded. And the runners will be going with 2 out in the count. 3-2. And that could be a big advantage to the Red Sox if Damon could put it in play.
That's right.
Runners off. The 3-2 pitch fouled off, and that was breaking low and inside, and might have been ball 4, but Damon had to protect the plate.
I agree with you, Dick. That ball was ball 4. Had Damon not swung at it, it may have hit him. That's how far inside it was.
Tough pitch to leave alone, however.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, the runners off. 3-2 pitch, ball 4. And Rivera forces in a run. Johnny Damon walks. And coming across, Kevin Millar, and it is now a 8-7 game. The bases remain loaded. And Bill Miller coming out, still with 2 away.
There have been teams that have beaten Rivera with ground balls through the infield, ground balls to third in front of the third baseman. Teams have not beaten Rivera because he's walked guys. He's walked only 7 coming into this game and 2 here in the 9th inning.
Bill Miller looking at a strike down the middle. 0-1, 2 out. Tying run is at third. Go-ahead run is at second base. Damian Jackson, the tying run at third base. One and one.
If you're Damian Jackson at third base, another thing to look for is the short pass ball. Posada, in past years, has had problems corralling the Rivera fastball, as have a lot of hitters in the American League.
And this is just the 8th inning, not the 9th for Rivera.
Right.
And he's had his hands full and has not been sharp. And a great pitch to hit for Bill Miller. Fouls it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and that pitch to Miller fouled off was the 25th pitch thrown by Rivera since he's come in.
I mean, just thinking, I can't remember Mariano Rivera walking 2 in an inning in the last 6 years.
Especially with men on base.
Right.
He's ahead on the count, 1-2, and off the fist, and a good protection at the plate by Bill Miller, who is 0 for 4 on the afternoon, and checking to see whether his bat broke in the process. Damian Jackson, Lou Merlone, Johnny Damon, 2 out. And he swings at what would have been a ball as he foul tips it into Posada's glove. It was a high pitch, and that'll do it. Red Sox, however, get 3, 8-7 as we go to the top of the 9th inning. And we will return to Boston after a break from your local Fox station. High drama indeed. Now playing right field, and Todd Walker is the new second baseman, with Merlone moving to left and a new pitcher as well, the young Hung Kim. And the first pitch to Bernie Williams, grounded to shortstop, and Garcia Parra throws him out. One away here in the top of the 9th inning. And here is today's Sprint Virtual Manager question again, and the answer as of today: who should win the American League Cy Young Award? Esteban Loaiza, Pedro Martinez, Mike Mussina, and Roy Halladay. And a lot of Red Sox fans, Martinez gets the nod, but Loaiza not that far behind. Pretty close, I would say, overall. Here is Matsui, who is 0 for 3 with a walk. And fouled out of play. So Kim has had mixed results since he has joined the Red Sox as their closer.
Well, he hasn't had mixed results facing the Yankees. They've been all bad.
That's true.
Oh, my gosh.
You remember that World
Oh,
Series.
2001 World Series, games 4 and 5. Home runs by Tino Martinez, Scott Brocious. Excruciating losses.
2 strikes to Matsui, but Kim picking up his 11th save Wednesday, striking out to 3 of the 4 outs he garnered, and he's ahead, no balls and 2 strikes to Matsui. And a chopper up the middle, and going to his left, Todd Walker. No way to make the play on Matsui, who beats it out for an infield hit. Matsui with his first hit of the ball game.
There's a running joke among baseball players in the major leagues that if you enter the game late in a game, that ball will find a way to find you.
That's right.
And there's Todd Walker out there. He pinch hit, and that ball found a way to find him. It's remarkable.
Jorge Posada with his 25th home run of the year, and he has been so effective leading off innings. That was his 9th homer as a leadoff batter this year. That was in the 4th inning. Yankees at one point trailed 3-0 and had an 8-4 lead. Red Sox cutting it down to 1 as Kim goes over to keep Matsui in focus.
Yeah, Matsui is not a base stealing threat. He's only tried to steal 2 this year. He's stolen 1. But Kim, easy to run off of. Easy.
And the time called by Red Sox catcher Jason Varitek. Looking at it in perspective, Kim has had an erratic August. 1-1 is his record, has 5 saves, but has 2 blown saves, and his ERA is over 5. So that's not what you want from your closer. But he's been a battler, misses outside, and 1-0 the count to the Yankee catcher. On deck, Aaron Boone for the Yankees, who have scored in bunches today. 2 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 8th. And there's an effective submarine pitch by Kim. And the one thing they say about Kim is that he's got to pitch inside, and he's got to send some of those batters back a little bit and kind of widen the plate for himself.
He is subterranean on some pitches.
Literally.
Looks like he's tunneling the ball to home plate.
1-1 pitch outside, or in Europe it would be chunneling the ball to the plate if you want to talk about London and Paris.
Yes. You can see how far he drops down. Talking to Bob Brunley about Kim a couple of years ago, and he said you could stand when he's throwing between starts and you just can't pick him up.
2-1 pitch fouled off by Posada.
Normally left-handed batters get a real good look at a guy who drops down like that, but not so Kim. Very, very difficult to pick up.
So it's Posada against Kim from South Korea. Came to the Red Sox in the deal for Shea Hillenbrand at the end of May. Part of the shuffling of the bullpen story, and Matsui is off, and on the hit and run, fouled away. And Matsui will come back, and the count is even 2-2.
As we said, even though Matsui doesn't run a lot, Kim is easy He's an easy guy to run off of for a lot of reasons. He keeps the ball down. It's tougher for the catcher to throw it. He takes a long time to get rid of the ball to home plate. So you have all the elements that favor a guy running in this situation.
And the Yankees be a smart thing to do to try to get yet another insurance run in scoring position. With one out, Boone to follow. Pitches down low. Full count now to Posada.
And Matsui will definitely be running right here. Also, Lou Merloni in left field just moved out there. He's got a second baseman's arm. He's playing left field. Ground ball the other side, through to left, try to go to third with one out.
And you also have an infielder's arm in right field.
Right.
Damian Jackson, runner goes, and the ball hit to center field, deep, way back, and this one is gone. Jorge Posada with a huge two-run homer here in the ninth inning. His second homer of the game to give the Yankees some solid breathing room. That was tagged. Woof. And Posada with a two-run homer, giving the Yankees a 10-7 lead.
Aaron Boone.
So once again, beyond Young Kim looking at not the pinstripes, but the traveling grays, but the NY may get
Same
the job
result.
done. The same result is right. And it is 10-7 now. Aaron Boone at the plate. Bases are empty with one out, but the damage has been done, and a call strike to Boone.
Did Posada crush this ball? Just crushed it. Way out of here in center field.
So he has his 25th and 26th home runs today, and Boone fouls it out of play to the right. 0-2. Crushed it into the canvas in center field that they use as background against the hitters. And this is going to take a lot of pressure, Tim, off of Mariano Rivera now, going into the bottom of the ninth inning. Swing and a miss, strike three, and Boone goes down for out number two.
Of course, we were saying that going into the bottom of the eighth inning, too, that the 4 runs by the Yankees, then the Red Sox came back with 3. Posada just crushes one to center field. And the bewildered Kim is still out there.
For Posada, his first 2 home run game this year, and his 8th career multi-home run game. Here's Juan Rivera. And Rivera, who went into play right field after Sierra pinch hit for Garcia, takes strike 1. And the crowd has not left, because these are great baseball fans, but they are silent right now. Pop up as Varitek and Millar, and it's Varitek to make the catch for out number 3. But Jorge Posada with a blistering 2-run homer to center field against Kim, giving the Yankees a 10-7 lead, and the Red Sox will have Garcia Parra, Ortiz, and Millar in their last chance in the bottom of the ninth. And back here at Fenway Park, and here is today's good hands play of the game, presented by Allstate, and it was Kareem Garcia robbing Lou Merloni of extra bases. He took off and extended himself and made a great catch, kept his balance, and that ended things in the 4th inning, as the Yankees now will try to halt the Red Sox, who are known for their comebacks, in the bottom of the ninth inning, leading 10-7, and it'll be Garcia Parra, Ortiz, and Millar against Mariano Rivera after the Red Sox batted around in the 8th.
By the way, Dick, we were talking about the last time that Mariano Rivera walked 2 in 1 inning. It was July 12th of last year in Cleveland. Yankees lost that game. Mariano blew a save. The 2 walks in an inning.
Garcia Parra hits a fly ball, just missing this one, and Hideki Matsui making the catch for out number 1. Garcia Parra had been 6 for 12 against Mariano coming into this game, but 1 gone for the Red Sox in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Designated hitter, number 3.
Rivera had to work extra hard in the 8th inning, which is not normally the routine for closers. They go finish an inning and then come into the 9th, but he had to struggle a little bit, as you mentioned, with those 2 walks.
Yeah.
And a hit. And here's Ortiz, who has 2 hits and 3 trips, a homer, a single, and a walk, and an RBI. And a fastball for a strike, but a lot of the pressure taken off of Rivera. 1 run deficit is a totally different story. Obviously, when you need to get 1 man on base, the Red Sox need a lot more than that here. No balls and 2 strikes to the Red Sox designated hitter. Seattle Mariners leading the Orioles 2-1 in the 3rd inning. And if the Red Sox go on and lose this game and the Mariners win, Seattle would vault ahead of them in the wild card spot by a half a game. All the way to the backstop, 1-2.
We talked about it in the opening about 3 hours ago about how this should be a low-scoring ball game with Andy Pettitte going, Pedro Martinez.
You never know.
You really don't. The Red Sox and Yankees both are so explosive. 24 hits in this game, 17 runs.
Out of the plate, and the winner of this game will also break the season series story. Team 7-7 coming into this game. Series finale tomorrow. As we told you, Roger Clemens, barring these teams facing each other in postseason, his final career appearance at Fenway Park. And then 3 games next week at Yankee Stadium, and we'll have one of them. And there's a base hit to center field by Ortiz. 3rd hit of the game for David Ortiz. Well, the Red Sox have 19 wins in their last at-bat this year, so nothing is out of the question for this band of Bo Sox.
At one time, it would have been out of the question even to mention it against a guy like Mariano Rivera. Such extraordinary success in the pinstripes. But he has had his problems recently.
And so the Red Sox finally get in the double digits in hits for the 10th consecutive game. And Kevin Millar, who is 2 for 6 against Rivera, fouls off the first pitch. Kevin Millar with a 1st inning single and a run batted in. Now with 83 RBIs on the season. His career high is 85. Ortiz not being held on by Nick Johnson at first base. And chases that pitch for strike 2. Rivera, the 4th Yankee pitcher. Andy Pettitte started and worked 7 innings and settled down after a rocky start, committing a throwing error in the process. Jeff Nelson, Gabe White, and now Rivera.
You don't need to throw a strike in this situation if you're Rivera.
And Millar with a fly ball to right field coming over, and it's going to be a foul ball, barely foul. Juan Rivera came running over, and that looked awfully close.
And he threw a strike too. I mean, after that 0-1 pitch, you've got so much to work with. That ball was 6 inches off the plate, and Millar not only swinging at it, but swinging at it feebly. You don't need to throw a strike, and Rivera comes back with a strike. Sometimes, in order to be wild, you don't have to be wild out of the strike zone. Some pitchers are wild in the strike zone.
Ortiz with a 1-out single. Oh, 0-2 pitch, and he hits it to the right side. Nick Johnson will make the play unassisted. That's all the Yankees need, as Ortiz goes to second with 2 outs. So the Red Sox down to their last out, and they need another base runner for the tying run to come to the plate. And it appears at this point, Tim, that Posada's home run in the 9th inning really took the air out of the Red Sox rally balloon today.
That was a bomb, and here's that pitch to Millar, about 6 inches off the plate. You can see how he just punches at the ball. Grounded feebly to the right side.
So here's Jason Varitek, the switch hitter, who is 4 for 10 against Mariano Rivera. 10-7 the score, and all the scoring today, we've only had 1 inning, Tim, where a team scored 1 run. That was Red Sox in the 3rd inning. Otherwise, it was 2 or more for both clubs.
Yeah, I was just thinking about your comment about Posada hitting the 2-run home run, and how many teams this year have thought they had the Red Sox down, and they just have risen like Lazarus.
2 out, and the pitch taken for ball 1-0 to Jason Varitek, who has 22 home runs and 79 runs batted in. Ground ball to the right side. Nick Johnson will flip it to Rivera for out number 3, and the ball game is over. And Mariano Rivera, after a rocky 8th inning, settles down in the 9th, and the Yankees have defeated the Boston Red Sox by a score of 10-7 to even their 2-game series at 1 apiece and regain a 4.5-game lead.
Lazarus finally stayed down.
Yeah, right.
No rising again today.
So the Yankees now 4.5 up in the American League East race. Red Sox even. Pettitte the winner, Martinez the loser. For more information on today's game and for the latest information on Major League Baseball, go to foxsports.com. Next week on Fox, baseball's pennant races heat up as we hit September. Red Sox at Yankee Stadium or other matchups. Check your local listings. So for Tim McCarver, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long from Boston. You've been watching Fox Sports, your home for the 2003 Major League Baseball postseason and World Series. Yankees win it today. So long, everybody.